Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Let me go live here in just a moment. Setting things up. All right. All right. Check. 1, 2. Check. 3, 4. Check. 1, 2. Check. Check. Wrong one. Let me go back to desktop Tidycam. There we go. All right. Welcome everybody. LaCroix. I don't know why. Oh, I got a green screen. That's why. Key lime. It's tasty. All right, let's take a look here at the market. What's going on? Because it was scary in the morning. It was scary. But we have since recovered greatly. So we're going to take a look, see if any interesting alerts came around the corner, what we're getting there, what we can expect, look at some of the larger time frames. That was a big move down. The market was pricing in a lot of risk. The S&P 500 was pricing a move down for one standard deviation at 665 to 666. And we opened in there. We came down lower, right? Almost touching right back down to that lower eyeball range for the month, which we tagged before. So that is a higher low right now. Nonetheless, big move to start the morning. And this is the type of stuff that you see when we fall into negative gamma. So I'm always so adamant about showing this over and over again because it goes without saying. I have to say it all the time because there's new people that watch and everything. But if your strategy doesn't change when you go into negative gamma, the market conditions are changing, but your strategy is not changing. And if all of a sudden you're so used to making great money, but all of a sudden the market conditions change and you have no idea about it, and all of a sudden your strategy is not working well, I don't want people. I want people to understand what their strategy, what conditions work best for their strategy. So I always utilize this, and then also direction of the 5-day moving average for more shorter term stuff to know what strategy fits best. So when we're in negative gamma, I tell people I typically like more shorter term day trading and fading. Meaning, if we get a big gap down like this, what do I look to do? I look to fade the move, right? I'm not going to get bearish down here. I'm going to look to go long. Okay. And that's what I did. And yesterday I did the same thing with a lot of these 2 standard deviation moves, right? Like, for example, we talked about I think Palantir in last night's brief was one of the many examples that I used. It started down after a 2 standard deviation move, and look at it now, right? So you don't go huge in these names because this drop may have scared you, but you get a 1 standard deviation break, a 2 standard deviation break, 2 days in a row. you can start small and see, what happens. And then you got to just be diligent of getting out of the position or updating risk, because these things can just flip right around. When you're in negative gamma, right, you get buying into buying. So you get these squeezes to the upside. But then also when you flip down and you get selling into selling in. So it could be just as aggressive back to the downside. We're going to take a look at some of these. We're going to take a look at some of these larger market cap names just to give a kind of a clean picture as how they played within their weekly implied moves too. This is a big move, man. Outside of the daily implied move and then all the way back up nearing the upper daily. And this is already a big range, right? When we're more gamma neutral, when we're in negative gamma, volatility expands and you get larger implied daily moves. So to see it go from the low to the high, I mean, that's wild, right? And unfortunately, if you don't know this stuff, you may have puked out positions down here or been too afraid to do anything here. That's why position sizing is just so critical. We can take the same trades, me and you, take the same ones, like people love alert trades. We can take the same ones, but if our position sizing is different, our outcome is going to be completely different, or our position strategy is going to be different. Position sizing strategy, if it's different. Okay. Hey, Vinny, what's up? Good morning. Afternoon. What's up, Wolf Banter? What's up, Hindenburg? Millhouse, Barkster, T2 Rider, Mechanic Matt. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing good. Everyone out there on Twitch. Everyone out here on YouTube. Okay. Where do I even want to start? Let's look at market net flow. Market net flow has been very bullish all day. This was also a great sign right here early on, right? Flipping bullish and convergence was bullish. This is a great sign that when you start the day at the low after already a strong move and you have bullish flow, you start to look for trades to the upside. And we saw a nice move there with the upper gamma range at about 677. We're not too far off. 677 would bring us just right about here at that all-time high VWAP. This blue line right over here, that is the November volume weighted average price. So for the month of November, price is currently trading at that area, which tells me that the average person for the month, based off of the time and volume, is basically flat because we're just under it, okay? 5-day moving average is inclining, but we're under it right now, so it's just giving us that cautionary sign. And then I would say go ahead and anchor a VWAP to the low of today's trading session. This was a pretty explosive move, and for whatever reason, if we start reversing, whenever that may be, it could be from up here, from, wherever, I would be just watching this low because this was a significant move from here. So when we get our test, you typically get a pretty strong reaction from, or at least the first reaction is typically pretty strong. Thanks, Vin. Okay. I want to hop over to some of these larger market cap names, see what they're doing. We can go through some of these eyeball alerts that have been coming through on my end. Not much today. They were down earlier because we were deploying a change, an update to basically just save me money because it was a heavy hog of some work that we did, and then so we did some modifications to the code and the server, the cloud, and then stuff to reduce the API usage too. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of stuff that I don't understand, but that's what we do. We learn. Okay, let's go over here to side by side. Side by side. I'm gonna change the name of that. All right. I guess we'll start with Meta because it's on my screen. Meta came down into its lower weekly implied move. We bounced from there. Not my typical favorite type of setup. Meta is still below the 5-day moving average. It's starting to flatten out over here. I was hoping to see this happen yesterday. It didn't, so I kind of just stayed away. Let's go to Apple. Apple right back up at its upper weekly implied move. No surprise there, right? We started breaking under. We recovered. Boom. We're right back at the upper weekly implied move. So Apple's been very strong. Microsoft back at its upper weekly implied move here too. Still flattening out. So, if this tightens up, this could create some opportunities. You know, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, right? Amazon came down underneath its weekly implied move, and we're at that October low VWAP that we've been kind of tracking. Remember, we were talking about how this could be just, you know, a larger flag that's potentially shaping up. So I would see how this kind of shapes in and around these levels. It's still under its 5-day moving average. I wasn't quick enough today to buy under here. I did trade the Qs and I utilized TQQQ, but I didn't pick directionally on a specific name or anything like that. I just went with the ETF there. Okay, NVIDIA. NVIDIA is kind of butting its head right now at its low, November low VWAP. 5-day moving average is flattening out. We're still under it. This is a pretty strong reaction. So once again, the setup, it's still early, right? It's still very early. Like I want to see it prove itself. I want to see price action give me some sort of sign that we can, you know, make a better risk to reward trade. If I enter here after a strong move, it's like, where's my stop? Down here? And that's a pretty big move, you know, if you're looking at a 30-minute time frame. So it just time frame matters. Google to me just needs some more time to consolidate. This one we've been talking about how it's just in a range. And then Tesla got way outside of its weekly implied move today. So another opportunity, right, where you break these weekly implied moves, people get freaked out, we come right back through. So that was a big mover. Once again, right, so maybe anchor a VWAP to this low, right? And that happens to be right at the lower weekly implied move. So if for whatever reason Tesla were to come back here, shape up, you know, 5-day moving average comes in, start to see if it starts setting up where we can create some sort of an opportunity. Right now, if you go live, you know, if you go right here, I would expect us, I mean, there's a high probability that we go and test this low VWAP or come back to the weekly implied move. And we're still below declining 5 days. So you really do need these things to set up. And it's not doing it yet. To get bullish, would you first wait to see HYG make a higher low while SPX makes a lower low on the daily time frame, or is that too late? I think that is one of those things that you can put in the bullish box. Like, right, if you're looking at things from a perspective of ideals, right? We draw our little, you know, T chart out here, and you got your bullish things over here, and you got your, I don't know, I'll just draw a teddy bear instead of another teddy bear. Your bearish things over here. That would be one of the things that go into the bullish category, right? Amongst other things like the direction of the 5-day moving average, the setup itself, and so forth. And then you based off of like, hey, you know, how many bearish things are there, you know, and how many bullish things are there? Oh, you know, we have more ideals for the bulls, so I'll take a position, but there's still a lot of bearish stuff. So maybe instead of taking a full-size position, because we have so much bearish things, I'm just going to take a small pilot position, right? A small one. So when when you say about the HYG, right? If we look at HYG right now, it's up on the trading session, right? It didn't make, you know, it is a higher low. Qs, I mean, you can look at Qs. Qs did make a lower low. So, you know, that's something. So technically that is a bullish divergence. I like to look at the SPY. SPY didn't make a lower low, but yet we're still recovering. So yeah, it's a possibility to watch that happen. But if it doesn't happen and market keeps going up higher, are you just going to kind of sit around and say, ah, man, but it didn't happen, so I didn't go long? And I think that's where you just want to be aware of when it does happen, but not wait specifically for that to happen, if that makes sense. Okay, so energy is up significantly today, up 1.62%, one of the better performing sectors. Let's take a look at oil. Oil's up also. That's a big move in oil. So we had a big move down, and now a big move up. Still a bearish trend. So oil is in a bearish trend. So let me reiterate this. So anytime I see oil start to move higher in a bearish trend, I'm looking to build some sort of or trade around the bonds, because a higher oil means lower bonds typically, right? Let's look at TLT. Yeah. So higher oil, lower bonds, right? Higher oil typically means higher yields. Oil's a great great way to kind of front run that and look at it, especially when you see these like shorter term divergences. So when I look at oil, is this going to be breaking out, right? Maybe, perhaps, right? It is coiling up over here. But if it does, break down, what does that mean for the energy sector? Well, there's typically a strong correlation between, various energy stocks to oil. So if oil starts breaking down, energy can come right back in, which is typically positive for the S&P 500. Right? When you have energy outperforming the S&P 500, it hasn't historically been a good sign. Let's take a look at the 10-year yield. The 10-year yield's up pretty strong today, and it's kind of been doodling around this trend. If the bonds break, it's also a big warning sign to the markets, right? If we have substantial breaks and especially big rate of change in bonds, there could be bigger problems. But right now, I'm still looking at higher highs and higher lows. So I've been trading in and around bonds. When we get moves down, I like to execute into it. When we get moves up, especially strong moves, I like to sell a little bit into it and so forth. So during this entire time, oil is dropping, yields have not. Oil's been, you use crude oil as a proxy. It's, dropping from over here, lower highs, lower lows. But in like the near term, it hasn't gone anywhere since August, really. Right? It's been going sideways, like with some pops up, pops down, pops up, and so forth. So I'm just looking at like observationally, the 200-day is still declining, the 50-day is still declining. We're underneath the year-to-date VWAP. So, and then there's also some weird moves today too. The dollar, right? The dollar was down today, and it was down yesterday, and it's really kind of just a slow move here, and we've been seeing some higher lows here in the dollar. This one is still going up against a declining larger term average, right? Then shorter terms are right here. It's going above. So, if we're going to see more, problems here in the market, typically you do see when you see rising yields and a rising dollar, it's not always that great for when those correlations come back into play. It's not really that good for the S&P 500. Now, if we go back to like 2017, Trump's first term and now this term, this move in the dollar, it's legit. It's literally mimicking exactly what happened from going into his first term and then all the way through and all the way to the point of getting this exact low of September, like September being the low point for the dollar. So back over here, when we talked about this, if you go back to my videos, I was talking about how the dollar typically makes a low or it can make a low in September based off of these charts and that it's been following. I think I have that chart here somewhere. I got to show you. I didn't update it yet, but I got to show you because it's pretty crazy. Let's see here, and it's still following. So I'll kind of draw you the update of what it looks like, which is an extra few days. And it's the exact reason as to why I said the dollar could fall right throughout here. Where did I post it? Where can you be? There it is. So this chart, I made this little chart here. So 2024, 2025. So this year, this is the gold one is this year. The blue is 2017. And we had this run up here. And just look at it. Like it's literally going hand in hand where we found the low in September. And then I posted this chart basically when I was saying this is kind of where the dollar, if we're following this analog, this is where the dollar starts to come off. So actually in the last couple of days, it did exactly that. Right. And then you can see it kind of went lower and then into the new year, it went even lower. So we saw a bounce and so forth. I don't know if it's going to hold, right? Analogs, you can't do much with them, but sometimes you can. Sometimes you can, especially when we're thinking in terms of like, policy and what happened on the other term and so forth. All right, so SPY is getting just hung up over here at its November VWAP. Once again, chasing these type of moves, wait for consolidations, right? You wait for things to consolidate. You wait for things to kind of smooth out. There's no point to rush. And we'll look at some names maybe. I'm watching some alerts that come through too. And then we're right here at this 6760 level, which was a pretty big gamma level. Yeah, it's right here. And there's a little bit reaching out, 6785, but not much after that point. So 660, maybe 6760, 6785. So if we get a little bit more pop, maybe 6785, which is really kind of just right by the daily implied move. But right now we're kind of near that, the main piece, with market net flow being, market net flow is bullish here, but notice the red line kind of creeping up and the green line creeping down. And then we're starting to lose convergence here. So as the market's kind of going sideways. So if this starts to turn gray, it could indicate that we're just going through some more consolidation or pullback. Can we look at BE and Core? Yeah. Prediction for Goog. We don't really make predictions. I mean, we can plot out a trade, you know, try to figure out a trade idea. And then if it works, great. If it doesn't, then, you know, it doesn't. Right? So first and foremost, when you start to look at the price of Google, you say, okay, well, this is what I do. Is it setting up right now? Maybe, right? I can force draw something, you know, like this. Right? I could force put some, you know, price action coiling up, tightening up in a bullish trend. So first and foremost, if I'm making a prediction or a trade idea, first I want to look at the trend. The trend is bullish, right? So, you know, if we're thinking of things in a T chart, right? So it's a bullish trend. So my bias is I'm looking for long setups. Now, if this was like straight up and parabolic and like, oh, it's, you know, it's bullish. Well, I wouldn't go long up here, right? And I technically, sometimes maybe I'll fade very quickly, but I'll wait for price to, you know, pull back and confirm. So when I'm looking at this, okay, if you wanted to go long Google, right? Because we're bullish and we're trying to set up here, right? I prefer more time. I prefer more time and build a base out. But let's say, you know, I want to position now. Okay, you go long now. Where's your stop going to be? It's going to be basically right under this low. And then where would you target? Probably right up here into and around 300. So your risk, your reward. That would be the trade idea. The potential is set up playing out. I mean, you're 1 day separated from getting stopped out, so I don't love that. And then two, right? Because you're so close to being stopped out, you don't want to go too big in size in something like that. You look at a smaller time frame, you're still below a 5 day moving average, right? And is it the best time to enter after a strong move like this? No. Right? So what can I wait for to be more tactical? Well, maybe you can come into a 30-minute time frame. Not even. Let's go smaller time frame. Let's go Google. Go 5 minute. Ignore the red line because it's the wrong one. But you would anchor volume weighted average price maybe to today's low, and say, okay, maybe, you know, if we pull back into this VWAP from the low and it can hold and start to set up, maybe then I'll execute with a stop down here. Because we haven't even tested this low and it's been straight up. So I don't like new positions up in these kind of ranges. All right. So that's how I kind of would go about trying to create something to trade. Or you say you want to build a position, maybe you look for lower weekly implied moves tags. Right? Hey, what's up, comrade? All right, let's look at BE. Yeah, so this was one that I had a position in because of the 2 standard deviation move yesterday. And we started lower. And since then we recovered. Right? We talked about this one on live stream yesterday. I don't have a position anymore. I got out today. This was just for a shorter term move. Yeah, it is a runner today, Drew. If I had to guess, yeah, I mean, it's going to pull back at some point. Today, I don't know, but anchor VWAP to this low. That'd be pretty, I mean, that would scare some people if we came back, we retrace the move. We're getting hung up right now at the November VWAP. But price isn't really pulling back at all. It's just digesting this move so far. That's not a horrible sign. And then if we look at gamma levels, we are kind of nearing the higher end of gamma exposure. 670, 60 was kind of the call wall for the shorter term. And then we have some reaching up to 67, 85. So we're kind of in this area of reward left. And there's, open door to the downside still if things start to change, right? And they are kind of changing right here. You have the green line kind of dipping. So now would be the time to start paying attention to lower levels if the price were to roll off. $67.50 could be a level of interest if we start pulling back. $67.50. I mean, that's not even, and we already came back there. That's right here. Nothing, but it is a level of interest right here on 1 DTE. 67.25, 67.40. That'd be a level of interest. Yeah, 67.25 if we pull back. I don't know. Is GDP supposed to be out today or next week? I don't know with all the government shutdown of getting data or not. Let me see. November 14th only shows this stuff. Am I missing it? Where are we at? Where is it at? Eh. '26 we get some GDP growth rate stuff. So Wednesday, November 26th, there's some GDP data. Yeah. I just like to look, maybe it'd be easier if I just did like 3-star. Yeah, I guess 26th. I don't know if we're going to get, this government shutdown messed things up. All right, we're trying to break through this November VWAP right now. So if we start to move 67.85, to daily upper. Okay, natural gas, yeah. Thoughts of Butterberry closing his fund. I I don't really know the exact reason why I closed it, but I don't think it's because he's, I don't know. It's probably for reasons that we don't know. I mean, it's easy to expect that it's like because he got blown up, but I doubt it. Or something bad happened, but who knows? It would be crazy if it was the top, like the irony. Pretty crazy. Nat gas. Yeah, I've been seeing some strength in nat gas. I don't love trading natural gas. I'm not a fan. It's too crazy. Here, let's pull up. See, I was watching these higher lows build here, and then all of a sudden, cuts down, and then it's just all over the place. But you are seeing now a higher low. Maybe if it consolidates, sets up. But these things are, I mean, call me crazy, but natural gas is like super difficult to trade. Just all over the place. From a technical perspective, it's just like, well, what do I do here? You just got to go small because it's so volatile. But yeah, other than that, I mean, yeah, we're starting to see these higher lows, higher highs. So that's, I guess, a good sign early on. But if you look past, we haven't really gone anywhere. It's a good thought there, Nolan. We were in negative gamma. Now we're a little bit more neutral. We're like right at the gamma flip line. So hedging activity can, more delta neutral here. I wouldn't expect anything crazy until we start breaking down lower and or break above where volatility really comes in. You following X? First time joining over here? Oh, sweet. Welcome in, Ian. Welcome. Right now, we're just looking at the recovery that the market's had. And we're trading in and around the volume weighted average price for November, the month of November. Just kind of getting hung up there. Saw a nice big move. Instead of chasing it, we look for consolidations, see how things set up. And if we get some dramatic pull down, I'd be looking at the lower volume weighted average price. If we take a look at market net flow, this green line going down is a little bit sketch to me. Little sketchy, magetchy over here. Now, if it starts turning back up, that could be really nice. But you have the red line kind of actually going up, the green line kind of coming in. And price action hasn't really quite responded to that, but it did make a strong move up. So the thought there would be is if that trend continues, we go through a little bit longer of a consolidation. Oh, you know what? Did have a lower, let's see what this name is, SOC. This was a 2 standard deviation move that we were alerted on. Not my really type of Sable Offshore Corp. 463. So 2 standard deviation move was up here. I don't really like these couple dollar, shares. So I don't really trade this stuff all too frequently unless if it's more popular type name. Which, I mean, this has weekly options, but I don't really know anything about it. Sable Offshore Corp. Oil and gas company. So this one's trading outside of its 2 standard deviation move today. Let's just mark it and we'll see maybe how it interacts, maybe if it comes back up there. So there's that 2 standard deviation. Let me make sure I did it right. Edit properties. 463. Yeah. Could be some news or, oh, you know, there's, it was earnings move. So I don't touch earnings moves. So it reported earnings. So these are off anyway. So anytime you see a 2 standard deviation move or, you know, anything and it had earnings, I ignore it. So that was earnings. The reason why is because it's better to go into the trade tab and actually look at the expected move for earnings versus utilizing these alerts. So I just noticed that. So yeah, that's a no-go there. Doesn't mean it can't still work, but I'm just not interested on them. A lot of upper 2 standard deviation moves today. See if anything from a weekly perspective tricked off. Nothing too crazy, but I mean, that was a big one. BKSY. That hit lower daily. And then also, so 1254. Right here is the 2 standard deviation weekly expected move. That triggered a little earlier. So this one got smoked for the week. Also, though, keep in mind it was earnings week, right? Or no. Earnings was last week. So that right there was a 2 standard deviation weekly move. Riot also did a 2 standard deviation weekly move. Riot's lower was 1289. Right here. So these, you know, and I didn't catch these. This is something that I would love, you know, I'd be all over. But, you know, you see these big moves to the downside, and then all of a sudden you're looking through the weekly implied ranges, and you're like, you know, it's getting 2 standard deviation alerts. I mean, down here also in confluence with like the lower daily. Like, yeah, things are going to probably bounce, and I would prefer to execute into these lower ranges. So, I mean, just look at this thing. Right? This came in, got under it a little bit, right? But then basically opened up the cash session above it, came in, bam. And then we went running, which, you know, from here to where we are there is a 10% move. Somebody had mentioned Mara the other day because it was hitting 2 standard deviation moves, right? Mara, not much of a recovery over here. I think this was around the 2 standard deviation daily move, and we closed basically right at it, right? So imagine trying to buy the dip in Mara, you know, a bunch of times, and all of a sudden, you know, you just didn't wait for it to be around this, especially on a pretty big bearish day. Right, and then you start looking here. If it was another 2 standard deviation move, you can scale small or, you know, however you approach it. But if you look at this too, same thing, big drop off, sell off. Yeah, you're probably going to get some sort of short covering rally to make for short-term moves. I don't calculate it personally myself, but it's looking at Gamma as a whole, right? And I don't calculate it myself. I utilize just Gamma Lab. There's a bunch of different services out there that just automatically do it. But I don't go in there and like look at the entire structure of the market and then calculate it myself and run it through a model. Like, it's just way too much. Maybe, you know, if I want to spend the money and time to develop that, you know, I can. Let's look at some of the monthly alerts, see if anything. MicroStrategy hit a 2 standard deviation monthly move today. CoreWeave did too. So let's take a look at some of these ones. These are big. So, people have been talking about, hey, would it be good to get MicroStrategy here and hold it, till year end? Well, this is what you wait for, is like crazy moves. So this is a 2 standard deviation. So 196.73. I'm just going to draw this here. Edit properties. We'll make it cyan. And yeah, I mean, look at this. So this was also in Confluence, today's lower daily implied move. So this is a 2 standard deviation monthly move. So yeah, that's a big move in these names. And this is just another kind of crypto related equity. This crypto got cracked, right? Crypto got cracked. But imagine like, okay, now, we know crypto is going down because, well, I utilized the Sailor to Shift tool that I built, and it was giving us a signal to stay away, and it still hasn't given us a buy signal yet or a buy trigger. But you're like thinking like, okay, if we start selling off, where would be some key levels? Well, these big moves would be better entries than trying to do it, throughout various areas that, didn't get these alerts. Or maybe they got the alerts and you started small to build in for whatever reason, right? How do I set up the alerts? Alerts for what? Jose. These alerts are just I'm just giving you some of them that are coming through on my end. These are in my Azure bot that I built. It's in my Discord. I'm just sharing some of them. MSTZ, yeah, those derived ETFs too. Yeah, you can use those. You use whatever you want. Just manage risk. MSTZ also hit its 2 standard deviation move, right? MSTZ was also alerted. That was alerted at 1173. 1173 was right here. Right? So if you're a short MicroStrategy, coming into a 2 standard deviation monthly move right here. XLY hit its lower monthly implied move. XLY, that's a big one. XLY was 228.70. Bam, today. That's the lower monthly implied move there for XLY. Also in Confluence there with today's lower daily implied move. A lot of good stuff that popped through today. I wasn't as active today, usually. Someone needs to make a live chart with Nicholas's forecasted overlay. I think it has to be like scaled and updated. I don't know how what he chooses and how he picks the cycle. Maybe he's talked about it in the past, but it's kind of cool. Looking at like various pivots in a month. I don't know how far the data goes back or how it's calculated, but I feel like that's in order for me to make real like substantial trades, I need to understand why, because I can always alter data to how I want it, and if I don't know the math behind it or understand how it's actually working, like it goes lower on my totem pole of things that has to make bigger money decisions. CoreWeave, this was a popular name when it came out. This lower implied move for the week hit 2 standard deviations lower at 74.31, which was right. No, I just had it right here. So, what was that? What just happened? What did I just do? I just totally messed up my scales. I don't know what just happened there. Reset. That was weird. So there was the 2 standard deviation monthly implied move for CoreWeave. And this, it's a lot of just the crypto names. Look at this move. Boing, down. So yeah, when this kind of stuff happens, those would be, levels of interest to play. I mean, this doesn't look good either. Like a lot of these names I'm showing you, they don't look good, but you can create shorter term potential bounce trades in them. That's why I'm pointing them out. Right? You don't go heavy on this stuff. If you go heavy in a volatile name while it's being volatile, which exponentially is more volatile, you don't go big. Are those cycle charts of Venus because they look a lot like Larry Williams? I don't know. I haven't seen Larry Williams cycle charts. Maybe they use the same software if they look similar. But I don't know. Maybe. Well, I doubt it. I mean, he scales and does it himself. I have no idea. I really don't. So I just saw it online and I thought it was cool, so I shared it. And it's actually playing out pretty nicely this month, right? I don't know about all the other months. I can't really comment on it. I looked at like last month and this month, but yeah. Let's go back over to SPY. Yeah, we're still doodling around here. Pulled back a little bit. Not surprised, right? We started seeing this pick up and this start to decline, which I just don't like. And we started losing convergence here. So if being that we're in negative gamma, if all of a sudden the sellers pick up, right? Dealers start selling into selling, we can see this thing come right back down. So don't get too cocky, right? Be patient. Look for levels below us, just like this lower VWAP over here for the day. That would be about a 50% retracement as of right now. I'm not calling for that to happen, but also while the market structure is looking like this or the market net flow, I don't want to try to trade this to go long right now, given that options flow is changing on me. So I want to pay attention to lower levels, see what it happens, see what price does and so forth. Maybe they found the same pattern. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I really don't. Does anybody know what software it is that they're using to create that or chart it out? Is it just Excel and they just build out a chart or something? Or Jose, you're in the Discord, but I don't get alerts from Ashabot, which is awesome. But I have to input what I'm looking for. What do you mean by not getting alerts? So I have it up on my screen and I'm just watching it. I don't get like notifications sent to me. I'm just like, they should be, you have the date, like, do you see the daily channel, the weekly and the monthly, and the alerts just kind of just come through? You should see those. Wolf Banter is saying Timing Solutions is what Larry uses. I haven't heard of that. I mean, I'll take a look at it. Timing Solutions software. Is that his software by any chance? Is this he developed this? This looks hella old school. This website looks like, this is hilarious. It's like HTML built. That's so funny. You are correct. This looks just like what he uses. That's hilarious. The website is just like so like 98. Okay, you do see it? Okay, good. I'm gonna have to look at this stuff. It's kind of, I mean, it's kind of cool. Timing solutions or quick solutions. Models to create a project line math cycle models. Astronomy and astrology based models. Bro, I don't know how I'm supposed to make money on that with this. I think it's more cool than anything though. Pattern recognition models. Oh my gosh. Traditional astrology techniques. Holy moly. I don't. It still comes down to just price to me. Title, force. Holy moly. There's just all kinds of crazy stuff in here. It's cool. It's funny. Okay. You also use stock charts. Yeah, I've been using stock charts for years. I am an advanced user of stock charts. I love stock charts. Larry's a big believer in cycles. Yeah, that's what I picked up from him. I met him in Vegas. It was cool. It was cool. You know, it was cool. All right. Yeah, we can pull up some other names. I mean, it's not a quiet day by any means, but right now it's been quiet. Market's coming in a little bit here. Once again, not surprised. We were watching market net flow. This stinky little red line keeps creeping. The green line was going down. So we're consolidating. But the thing to be careful with is when you are in negative gamma, right? If they want to sell into the selling, they can drive it right back. As far as 1DTE goes, yeah, 67.50, a couple points below us. And then if it wants to break down through that, 67.40 and then potentially 67.25. So 67.40 would be just right to here. 67.25 would be right to here. So I don't know. Maybe we'll draw a little area, like a rectangle or something. And we'll be like 67, what did I say? 67.25. So basically right here to 67. What did I say? 45? Kind of that area. How do I make it green? There we go. Those are just, you know, looking at 67.25, 67.40, 25 and 40. Oh, 40. Sorry, my bad. That's a little bit too high. There we go. Right there. Okay. So maybe if we can hold, you know, come back into this area, maybe it sets something up. Didn't sleep well last night. I think I slept fine. I don't know. I didn't get to the gym today. That always has an effect on me. I like to exercise in the mornings. It's 6 o'clock. I'm typically at the gym. Oh. MBIS to the downside. Let's see, MBIS. Excuse me. Okay. So sorry about that. I'm responding to it. My God. NBIS. Yeah, this is pretty strong here too. Strong move to the downside. This right after strong moves, you'll typically see bounces, but this could also be one of those double tops, right? It was actually confirmed to be a double top. So if this is actually plays to a full measured move, you're looking at now. Like once again, I don't short this, but you'd be coming back down into the year-to-date VWAP. But I don't short down here. So, if it starts to, flag out, this 50 days starts to flatten out, the 20 days starts to come in, and then, does this, maybe then you start looking for short opportunities. But I'm just not interested in shorting names that have been like parabolic big runners. It just, it's just not for me. I'd rather just be in cash, right? Now, if you're going to go long, you could look for these lower levels and just be patient or wait. Or, right, you can look at like, these lower ranges down here, right? Lower IVOL ranges, lower monthly, whatever the case may be, and just start just incredibly small. That'd be one way of trying to like buy dips, which is dangerous. So you got to do small. And then the other way is to say, hey, I want price to confirm from a shorter term perspective that we might be turning back upwards, right? Let's see what actually happened to BA. So, okay, BA still hasn't done it yet, but this was one that I was watching. BA, right? Boeing has been going, down. I know historically Boeing in the end of the year is typically more bullish. Doesn't mean that it always has to be bullish, but it's typically more bullish at the end of the year. And I was seeing it come into its year-to-date volume weighted average price. So I pulled up the smaller time frame. I'm like, hey, if we can, like, it's starting to flatten out here, but it hasn't proven itself yet. So if we can, break through here, this opens the door for actually Boeing to start to lift off. No pun intended, with a decent risk to reward. But if it starts breaking down, this starts turning back, then I'm not interested here. I really do need price to prove itself. This is hard to see. Let me just zoom in, right? I need price to prove itself. Hasn't done it. It tried. It failed. Oh, what did I just do? Chat room, global news. Whoa. White House memo claims Alibaba is helping Chinese military target the U.S. What? Holy moly. Big moves in Baba right now. That's an interesting news drop there. Big move intraday on Baba. Somebody asked me about this one yesterday. Said definitely needs more time to consolidate. I'm glad I went with that. KWeb. Okay, so we just now, look at this. I'm getting all these alerts come through. Baba, Baidu, KWeb, all hitting lower daily implied moves right now. JD, 2 standard deviation, lower expected moves. So China names are getting smoked right then and there. XBev, another, Yin, all these Chinese names just came on that news, hitting lower dailies and then 2 standards. JD, 2931. I'd be careful playing, doing these 2 standard deviation trades on news breaks, right? Let to see, see what what happens here, especially on news like that. That's pretty crazy. Look at that. ANVS, 2 standard deviation lower move. I don't know if that's tied to China or not. ANVS. Wait, what? I don't like this crap. 229. Yeah, no, ignore that one. Why is this even on here? What is this? This is so illiquid. Never trust an illiquid name with these alerts. Garbage. Big reaction there. You're going to get, snapbacks. The news was that White House memo claims Alibaba is helping Chinese military target the U.S. I don't know. Big reaction, big move down, followed by big move up. Yeah, that's crazy. We almost came into this little green box over here. See, SPY, still kind of doodling around here. The red line's been picking up, more here as we lost convergence. So once again, right, this was the early warning signs over here we've been talking about. As a strong move, we're just getting that consolidated. Yeah, if this isn't true, this thing rips right back up. You always get these initial reactions, and a lot of the times the initial reaction is overblown, and then you see, snapbacks, then the market has to digest it, and then go from there. JD was the only one that hit 2 standard deviations, but was this on earnings? Because it was already at the lower standard earlier today. Yeah, I think it was because of earnings. So, okay, once again, I don't bother with that stuff. So we can keep an eye on BABA. Oh. Liquidity is drying. No, we want more liquidity. I want all the liquidity. Hey, what do you think about Phantom Prince? Like, are you talking about when you just get like a big wick somewhere where it's just like a random print, I guess, just a big one? I personally, I don't really do much with it. I haven't done anything with it. Sometimes people, if that's what you're talking about, sometimes you get this big Phantom print, and people are like, maybe the market will go to those levels. And sometimes they can be right, sometimes they can be wrong. I still will watch the setup. I'll still watch market net flow, and I put precedence to those things than anything. And then from that point, I just focus on how I can manage the risk through there. Right? I'm not trying to predict the next move. I'm just trying to anticipate what could happen and prepare as best as I can. Right? I don't mind being wrong over and over and over again, but when I'm right, like I want to be right. I want that thing to move. Adobe, but I'm not 100% positive what you mean by the Phantom Prince, but I'm assuming that that's kind of what you meant. Adobe's. The slow bleed of Adobe. Lower highs. Lower lows. Earnings around the corner. I mean, Adobe, I don't know too much about the fundamentals or anything, but I mean, Adobe product, everyone uses Adobe products. Adobe's huge. Now, as far as like the shorter term, look at this. You start to see the 5-day moving average start to incline. Right? So if we can start maybe breaking through here, which is today's high, like throughout here, maybe that opens the door for up here, and potentially even higher. I don't like new positions really into earnings unless if I'm really honed in on the expected move for that. But the overall trend is still pretty bearish in here. So you'll be fighting the trend. So just once again, like if you're bullish, like if you think about taking a long position, just understand that it deals in the bear's favor. The price action's bearish, right? So you're fighting the river, you're fighting the trend. You're saying that I'm going to be right, the market's going to be wrong, right? So and that doesn't, you can still take a trade. I'll still take a trade, but you still need to say, okay, if that's the case, if all these ideals are in bear favor still, and I do got a couple bullish ones, how am I going to position for this? What's my sizing going to look like? Is it going to be maxed out fully long? Probably not. right? Because if you do that over and over again, max long, do whatever, YOLO into stocks like this, you're going to get caught up on one of them probably sooner rather than later, and it's going to hurt the portfolio. So when I see this, stuff, like if I were to take a position in the shorter time frame, I'm aware of that. I start small, and then I'm pretty aggressive to take some profits off and update stops. That's how I approach these things. If I make some money, cool. If I don't, well, I mean, it is what it is. Shapoopy. All right, let's see what Babas end up doing. Oh, Baba. Baba Bushki. Part of the point is to make money. Also, a big part of the point is to protect and preserve your money that you already have. So there's multiple aspects to it. Preserve, protect, grow. Hey, green line's kind of creeping back up here. Red line's kind of flattening out. Yahoo! Let's turn into something bigger. We came in
from the New York Fed reverse repo operation demand 1.56 billion. That compares to yesterday's 3.76 billion. It's across 10 counterparties. That's up from yesterday's 8.
Like the police. Yeah, you got to be a police for your account. Exactly. I like that. This came in within 50 cents of our zone. That's pretty cool. That zone right there was based off of just 0 DTE at the time. I should buy this timing solution software. Except it probably doesn't work on Mac. I got to figure that out. Can we look at MVO? Yeah, we'll look at MVO. Protect and grow, easier said than done. I mean, but we have full control of doing that, right? We control 4 things, right? What we buy, when we buy it, how much we buy, and when we sell. So if you're focusing on all the other stuff and not the controllables, get rid of all that stuff and focus on the controllables. It's all has to do with risk. I guess the only hard part is, emotionally speaking. But if you can focus in on what you buy, when you buy it, how much you buy, and when you sell it, and you just get really good at that, you're going to do a lot better. Almost like a government slogan. Yeah, okay, let's look at NVO. NVO. Novo Nordisk. Yikes. Yeah, I mean, you see it, I see it. Lower highs, lower lows. If you thought this was the low, you were wrong. If you thought this was the low, you're right now. But it's not far off. So you're fighting a bearish trend if you're trying to go long. I don't like shorting this type of stuff. So if anything, and this is a jumpy name because it's an ADR. It's above its 5-day moving average right now, but once again, it's a jumpy name. Yeah, this is clear markup phase, clear distribution over here. It gets all wild and crazy. and bam, the mark of a decline phase right throughout here. So this could be a long, long time before it starts to base out, right? Get the 40-week moving average to flatten out, the 30-week to come back above, the 10-week to turn back up. These things take time. Impulse, yeah, Wolf. Smashed a hole in your table this morning? Dang. No. Okay, so let's just keep an eye here on the markets. Look at it. Just came into its November VWAP, just like bam, and just couldn't get past it. Still right under the gamma flip line. Yeah, just cautionary take over here. Cautionary take. Let price do its thing. I'm just watching the Chinese news here, the BABA thing. And then also, I guess all Chinese stocks were kind of affected. You look at KWeb, like the tech. Man, that's just like, boom. 2%. Next for like the quantum names or AI stuff. I mean, so like, for example, I was looking at IonQ. And you know, once again, I didn't trade it, but you know, a lot of these moves got cracked really low. So you start to pay attention to like lower areas, and this was coming into not only a 2 standard deviation move yesterday, but also the year-to-date VWAP. Yeah, then you have confluence with these little lines that I drew on my screen, right? This is areas where you can see bounces from. Once again, I was too slow to respond to a lot of this stuff today, but we got massive like, you know, pops from these levels right out of the gate. You know, that's 12% move. What's some other of those names, like Rigetti, right? Same thing. This one's not down there yet, but you never know. Could get down there. Can I look at Meta? Yeah, I can look at Meta. This thing needs some relief, that's for sure. Meta came into its weekly implied move. We're coming into this little zone over here. We'll see if anything's changed though from a 1DT perspective. So 67.25, 67.40. This is opening up. That's 6,700. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, so we're just pulling back into this little green box over here where we had some of those levels. Still interested to see, you know, if we can come down here. Okay, yeah, Meta. Meta today tagged into its weekly implied move. And it's still in a bearish trend from a 30-minute perspective, below a declining 5-day. Has work to do. Has to prove itself, is what it is. And this thing is like just kind of like holding lows. It's getting pretty tight, so maybe we get some news over the weekend and all of a sudden, you know, we gap up and it's like, okay, then I missed, excuse me, I miss it. I need some water. I'm losing my voice. All right, I'm gonna keep this on my screen. I'm gonna go grab some water, take a quick break. I'll move this over here so you can see market net flow. And then, so over here on my left-hand side, this is market net flow. This is the daily implied move for S&P 500 on the 15-minute time frame. This is the low today. This is the November VWAP right there. Be right back. Da 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 da. Hello, hello. All right, I'm back. Back at it again with the white vans. How we doing? Microvast MVST. We can take a look at it. That's a big drop. A lot of these names have been seeing big drops. Yeah, I don't know anything about this, but yeah, we know when it's these lower price stocks, I'm just not a huge fan of trading the lower price stocks. So it has to be a really good setup. And it's not right now, right? I don't know, bounces up. What am I going to just catch it to here? So if anything, maybe if it pulls back a little bit further, start shaping up, or you can go into the smaller time frames, get back above 5-day moving average. I'm just not a huge fan of these type of things. It's just too hard for me to trade them. So if I'm going to trade them, they're going to be, a lot smaller. Maybe look for, once again, those lower implied moves to get tagged. MasterCard just hit its lower daily implied move. MasterCard. Doesn't look all too hot here on the daily. Lower highs. Underneath year-to-date VWAP. Not the greatest look here for MasterCard. Baba's getting killed. Yeah. Let's see. Let's take a look again. Yeah, that's why you want to be careful on these little reflexive bounces. That was a news-driven. A lot of Chinese names are being affected by this news. And the news said, White House claims Baba is helping Chinese military target the U.S. Shadang. Shadang, man. It's actually pretty impressive that the market's up today after that big gap down, but it's up right now at least. Still just pulling through, consolidating. Let's look back over the gamma levels, see where we're at. Just came into that 67.40. Market net flow is starting to chill out a little bit. This early on gave us the indication that we can see more consolidation and a pullback. I want to trade something, but nothing is here for me to do. Posted this chart earlier, HXL. I mean, this thing hasn't even responded to all the market craziness, which is not a bad thing. But you had an earnings move, nice consolidation. Under here, more cautious, but if we can break and hold,
Cheniere Chief Commercial Officer says U.S. LNG plants could use 40 BCF of nat gas per day in the coming years.
It's not a great trend. It's been going sideways in a bearish trend. Maybe we get a pop out, people get excited, and it comes back in. 5-day moving average, we're above it, so I mean that's more positive, right? So that's good. It's inclining, just very choppy price action. It's hard to do stuff with this. It's hard to feel confident going into something like that. For me. For me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like... SHLD. Shield? Oh yeah, defensive names. This is a defensive ETF. Yeah, defensive names have been doing pretty good. We're consolidating now. Yeah, I don't know the holdings in this one off the top of my head, but yeah, I mean, the defensive names have been doing great. So we're starting to get lower highs, so be mindful of that. All right, so maybe it takes some more time to consolidate, work itself out. Maybe watch the 5-day moving average if you want to be more tactical with it to get back above there, because it is still declining. But yeah, defensive names have been doing superb. Superb. Man, just ain't nothing really going on right now. It's quieted a lot. JD hit its lower monthly implied move. We just had earnings though. And it had a 2 standard deviation lower expected move too. So there's the 2 standard deviation daily move. But remember earnings, so that, you know, I guess earnings was the other day and then it responded. So wait, right? Am I confused here? Was earnings the day prior? It was on 11/13. No, it was yesterday. Oh, before the market opened up. Okay, so actually that's fine. I didn't catch that. I thought it was after the market. So I thought today was digesting earnings. It's probably still digesting earnings, but yesterday was the bigger day of digested of earnings. So we did hit a 2 standard deviation daily move, and the lower monthly at 29.13, which is right here. So this is the lower monthly implied move from JD. Market's heading down to close red. Maybe. Maybe. I mean, we're not far off of being flat, you know, flat on the day or down on the day. S&P 500 is only up 10 basis points. So that's a big recovery. Even if we came down here or even here, we were down a lot more. We're well within the market's expectations right now. And we already tagged an expected move. Is the market's dumping right now? I mean, we have the potential to, but it's not really right now. We're still up 10 basis points. So if I look at market net flow, it's not giving me anything. And we're still holding these this key gamma zone right over here too. So let's see if anything's changed. A little bit of change. So 67.25 actually opened up a little bit more. I mean, these ones are still high too, 67.40s. So that's what we drew out here. But if we do break, I mean, 6,700 could be a game, a potential level right here. And this is, I mean, don't count this out, right? Don't count a 6,700 tag out because we are in negative gamma. So if sellers really want to step in, right, being in negative gamma, you get to selling into selling, right? Just like right here, when being in negative gamma, you got buying into buying. This is very common price action. But there's still a lot of like exposure up in these levels. 69.25 down here. So if we come down there, maybe see what we look like over here. Maybe we doodle around the VWAP from the low and then go from there. No position for me. I'm not doing anything. If anything, I'd be looking to see how it might respond in around these areas and maybe try to do a quick scalp or something like that. But if I'm looking at my portfolio right now, I have, you know, my portfolio is off its all-time highs by a little bit, and I want to keep it that way. I don't want it to get hurt, you know. Oh, I did take a position in this. Holy moly, that's doing good today. Holy cow. It must have just moved. ARQT. Oh, look at that. Yeah, I'm up like 6%. Well, it's up 6% on the day. I'm up just above 3%. So I took a small position in this. I just liked how it had a nice earnings move and it's been consolidating. And now we're having a bullish engulfing. This is, I think, within the biotech space, and biotech and XBI and all this stuff has been doing pretty good. We talked about that on yesterday's brief. Once again, another high on the year for biotech. Crazy. Dude, geez, this thing is volatile. Man, it's a small position, but I didn't realize that it could kind of move my portfolio that much. Oh, well, I guess that makes sense. Jiminy Christmas. I'm gonna cut a little bit of this actually off just because I didn't realize that my small position probably could have been a little bit smaller. So I'm just gonna lock in a third of it. Sell out. Boom. Load, you stinker. Yeah, so yeah, I got some in an ETF. I got some in Qs still. I was kind of trading around a position there. I bought it at the low of the month to date, and I sold the bulk of it. So actually, let me just show you. When it came into here, I bought it. I bought Qs, the lower monthly implied move. And then on this big day, I had to sell some into it. That was just crazy. And then I tried to add a little bit more on this day over here, which was yesterday. And then today I did the same thing. Today I went a little heavier on it because we were back here, and I did it for a shorter term day trade. And then I added a little bit more into the main core position. So I did TQQQ down here to be the more the day trade, but I also added to added a little bit back to my Q position. But it's overall like I'm back to like I'm not talking like 100% of my portfolio. I'm not even talking 50% of my portfolio. Mostly let's do the math. I'm 40% invested, not in Qs. It's with some other names, but like that means I'm 60% cash right now. Looking for other setups. Go. $100K is a small position. No, did I say that? I didn't take a $100,000 position in ARQT. Dang. That's my small position. Just wait until I do big positions. Okay. So SPY down on the day right now. Moving and grooving. Here we go. We're getting some movements now. We could even potentially now start to look at the tick chart and see if we're going to get any, frothy readings. Look at this. Ah! Crazy. Maybe if we get a -1,000 reading into one of these key levels, it can make for a nice little pop. Ow, God, my foot. We can look at Twilio too. Give me a second here because we're starting to see it get a little bit more volatile, and I kind of want to hone in a little bit just in case if little trade stuff sets up. Keeping an eye on daily eyeball alerts as well. Getting some more alerts here, but nothing too crazy. Can we look at Grok 9DB? I have no idea what that is. Grok 9DB. I don't know what that is. Bitcoin's cooked. Bitcoin's still on that sell signal, sell trigger. And remember, negative gamma, selling but get selling. Right? So it feels like a lot, But remember, this is a pretty big run up. So let's go back over to our gamma charts. We got 67.50, 67.40, 67.25. So 25. So perhaps, I mean, that would be nice, I guess, coming down here. 6,700 kind of shrunk in size, which is down here, but it's still, you know, the door's still technically open. This is a 2-hour chart of SP500, SPX. Come down to me. Come down to me. Fall, you little thing. eToro and Open and Twilio. Okay. I'm going to put those on the markers.
Keeping an eye on US equities. We did get that earlier equity rebound shortly after the US cash market
go
just
down.
opened. We have just seen gains from that rebound now just slowly start to trim. You have seen the ES now just dip back into red territory. NQ pretty much flat as well. Russell futures up around 0.2%. Very much the same sector breakdown. Tech, energy continuing to outperform, although tech has given about 1%-ish back. And then in terms of materials, communications, financials, they're continuing to lag in the red.
Go down faster. Amazon down on the trading session. Google down on the trading session. Nvidia up 1%. Tesla up on the trading session by a little bit. Netflix down 3.2%. That's a 2 standard deviation move in Netflix. Is there some news or something? Got that 10-for-1 split on deck. Palantir slightly up. 10-year yield coming off a little bit. Oh no, my bad. I was looking at a different name. 10-year yield is near the highs of the day. My apologies. DIA slightly down. SPY flat to slightly down. Q slightly up. Dollar slightly bid. IWM slightly bid. Come down to me. Come say hello. Come say hello to my 6725. Two standard deviation. Oh no, it's upper SRPT hit a 2 standard deviation move to the upside. Well, I'll be. All right, well, I'll keep an eye on it. I know we wanted to see Twilio or Twillo. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. Just definitely kind of going through this little consolidation period here. So earnings reaction pretty positive. I would like to see it maybe tighten up a little bit. You know, and then start to break out. Maybe some of these averages catch up a little bit, but post earnings, I like these type of consolidations after post earnings, and then try to follow through with continuation. That's why I was doing the same thing with Amazon, just watching it. All right. Big earnings move, follow through. Now it's getting a little bit loud and sloppy, but
just comments here
still
from
it's
Elon Musk. Announces Grok 5 release expected in Q1.
He said open. This one's just like a hype name. Very, very, very all over the place. So once again, if you're bullish something like this, maybe we pull back into here, tighten up a little bit, offer up a little bit better risk to reward. It's kind of just a little bit all over the place. It's a loud name. And then eToro. Yeah, I mean, same thing. You're getting a little bit of a move to the upside. Now it's consolidating. So if these things like had like 6-7 days of consolidation and got really tight, like I'm okay with something like that. But it's just too early for me. I'd rather just miss it versus anything. I need better setups. All right. Come on. Come on. Get over here. Get over here. Get over here. QBTS. Quantum names. Give me the quantum back. Give me my quantum bubble. Yeah, you're going to probably get a bounce here soon. I mean, same thing, I just look at these expected moves, maybe back into these ranges, maybe a little bit lower, watch the year-to-date VWAPs. Yeah, well, what am I supposed to do with this? If I were to use this, I'd be trading it as a stock that's in play, meaning I would be day trading it. But to buy it and hold it and hope, I can't do it. So on the smaller time frames, if I get alerts, like for example, this was at the lower daily implied move, maybe perhaps it sets back up or you get a nice pop up higher. I used IonQ as the main example today because IonQ came into one of those 2 standard deviation moves yesterday and the year-to-date VWAP. So I felt a lot more comfortable with all this confluence. Like this would be more of a day trade for me in here, and then you get this nice move. Right now, you go to the 15-minute time frame and look what it's doing. It's kind of just consolidating here. So it might be trying to gear up for another leg, but I prefer the more dramatic move and then try to play it quickly and get out and just, then if it sets up for a swing trade later, great. If it doesn't, whatever. Sometimes, if I get these type of dramatic moves, maybe I do the day trade, right? And I make a bunch of profits right out of the gate. So I sell a bunch of it and I turn the remaining, because I'm in profit, into a swing trade, thinking that maybe, it'll just see what it does, right? The right is on the house at that point. How often do I do live days? I don't got a schedule yet, Jose. I try to do something in the near future where I can plan more. It's tough. I've been so busy. Do I believe in the halving cycle or not? I mean, price is going to tell me ultimately everything, AH. I don't really put too much weight on any of that. I put weight on my signal, which is looking at the rate of change between Bitcoin and gold. I call it the sailor to ship tool. I put that together a while, and it's been on a sell signal, sell trigger for a few weeks now. It's caught all the big drops, and it's caught all the big moves higher. I have a video on it too if you want to see it. Just make sure it's the one that I posted, because a lot of people try to imitate it, copy it, package it, sell it. But I have a video that shows it all, how to build it. Use it for free if you want to. Shadoom. Yeah, a lot of craziness in the quantum names. A lot of opportunities in craziness, though. I don't have a position yet, Zach, in Amazon. I guess I have some Amazon technically via ETF, but I didn't do anything yet. Today would have probably been a pretty good time to execute if I wanted to start something. I don't have a position yet, though. I was watching it for the lower implied move of the week, and I just kind of missed it. So. BE and LEU are good to trade. Yeah, BE was one that we posted out yesterday. It came into its 2 standard deviation move. I held the position. I held it from here, I believe it was, though. And then I got out of some of it. I don't have any of it anymore, but, you know, nice little win there. I did the same thing with SoFi. Or did I trade SoFi? I can't remember if I traded SoFi. I talked about SoFi. I don't know if I traded it. Now I have to go look. Can't remember. Next week, expected move is 15 SPY points. Do you think up or down? I want it to be up. I always want it to be up. Unless if I don't have a position. If I don't have any, like, if I'm basically all, which I guess basically I am a lot of cash, so I want it to be down. I take it back. VFC, let's take a look at VFC. I mean, it's set up for what exactly? Like for a long maybe, or for a short? I'm not too sure. It's kind of just loud right now. It's a diamond pattern. So maybe if it tightens up and starts breaking out, but you're going up against a declining 200-day that's coming into all the, everything's converging here. So things are getting pretty tight. So we'll probably see a break in either direction. So it's not like that clean of a setup, right? The trend is not that great at all. I prefer bullish trends, bullish consolidations, and continuation. That's what I prefer. Rob, do I track liquidity? Do I make any transition based on that? I guess be specific because everyone looks at liquidity differently, right? So is there any particular meaning that you mean when you say liquidity?
Just getting official reporting.
Because that can mean different things for everybody these days.
They are to release the August International Trade Report on November the 19th.
Gap down days are fun to trade. Yeah, you're right. Is KTOS the right time to buy? KTOS. I mean, depends on your time frame, your horizon, and everything. So once again, I like tight consolidations.
Just further on that from the Census Bureau. So August construction spending
in bullish context
are to be released November 17th.
See these averages here, 2050, sloping up, 200 sloping up, tight consolidations, low risk to reward. Here, what do we got? Not really a tight consolidation. I mean, I could force it, but where's my stop going to be? Right here? I mean, we're a day separated from being stopped out, which is fine, but market would have to prove itself. So, you know, you can't know. I mean, you'll know in hindsight, but...
Further in that statement, so August manufacturing orders, they're to be released November the 18th.
You know, maybe if it does something like this, but then the longer we stay down here, this is going to start flattening out. And what it might pop up, and then if it can, it's going to be a while, right? It'd be a while for this, something like this to play out. Earnings, though, I don't like how earnings was a bearish earnings move down and then pull back, right? So sometimes when you get bearish earnings, you get consolidations and then you get continuations. Now, if this was a big bullish earnings move and then we went like this, I would be like, yeah, it looks great, right? I use VVIX. I don't like use it. I look at it, right? A VVIX is the volatility of volatility. A lot of like hedge funds and institutions, they'll like look at this level right in around 109, 111-ish kind of here. And when you start getting above it, you know, things can fire off. But I'll look at it. I'll keep an eye on it. I like to look at back month versus front month volatility. I like to look at the VIX volatility futures curve. Right? What am I doing? There. Look at the VIX volatility futures curve. So once again, I mean, we talked about this one yesterday. That was on my thumbnail. It's not in backwardation. It's still in contango. So we're in a choppy area with VIX Volatility futures up here at 20%, right? So it's there's nothing crazy to panic about yet. Like, things could get bad, but it's not really the case right now. You can see there's subtle shifts changing in the market, but we're like at that neutral zone where we can shift right back to, you know, being great. Where are traders reaching out to? I can take a look, actually. Traders are reaching right now to 67.25. Quite literally, 67.25. 25 points lower. And then above us would be 67.60. So 10 points higher. That is actual orders. Stacking. Bought some DKNG yesterday. Nice, nice, nice. Let's see what it's doing. Oh, it's down a little bit. Oh, you bought some today. All right. What are you looking for? A little bit of a bounce? A little bit bounce? A little bit bounce? I'd have to look into that, Robbie. I have no idea.
Just want to be wary of an explosion reportedly ripped through police station in India's Kashmir.
Jeez. Signal are you looking at for puts? I mean, I don't trade options. I trade equities, so I'm not looking at anything particular for puts. When it comes to the options market, I utilize the options market, and I look at the data, the implied vol, the options chain, sometimes order flow, but going out to next week, which is an expiration. Yeah, about $15.50 of expected move. That's a big expected move. Big expected move. GitLab. Did I do that one yet? Just choppy sideways. Yeah, it's going sideways. Underneath some of these key averages. Has to prove itself. I don't want to get involved in stuff like that right now. I don't want to get involved. Rivian. Yeah, Rivian actually did look good. It was on my tight list, actually, I believe. It was on my tight list right here.
Just of note for delivery names, the US Postal Service recommends new competitive prices for 2026.
Then we saw a nice big explosion from it, and now it's coming back in. So it needs to reset. But hey, so just so you know, on the Rivian thing, when we're getting these big moves to the downside, it looks like crud, but look at the volume. It's kind of moving with the market. Look at the volume. Way less versus the move up. That's not a bad sign. So I would like to see this kind of shape up and tighten up, and volume on the down days to kind of just progress like this lower, because there was a lot of, you know, support that kind of drove this move higher, right? That was earnings, and then we had follow through on earnings. So to go retest this could be a very strong possibility. So the lower we go, tightens up, sets up, you know, and it could be a while, but I'd be watching for that. Lucid just hit its lower daily implied move. I feel like this, is Rivian not have weekly options? No, Rivian does have weekly options. Let me see here. Probably hit it earlier today, so it definitely, yeah, okay. I got an alert earlier. Lucid just gave me a daily alert at 1441. Just as a daily implied range there. Go on. Do I use TOS as stock scanner to custom indicators to find stocks to trade intraday? Sometimes, but not really intraday. Like now, I mean, a lot of my intraday trades, if I were to trade intraday, one, I did futures, still do futures on occasion. I haven't for a little bit here because just the conditions just weren't for me. But I have in my Discord, I have the daily alerts, weekly alerts, monthly alerts of eyeball ranges, and I like to play probabilities there.
Priority Mail Express service.
So I use that to see what's, stocks that are moving. And then I need liquidity, like liquid names, right? So I look for things with kind of tighter spreads if I'm trading them intraday. So a lot of the times it might be one of the mega cap names setting up or, getting overextended and doing something like that, or just trading SPYs or Qs if I'm trading the equity side of things.
And just reports concerning US President Trump reportedly to cut tariffs on beef, tomatoes, coffee, and bananas.
Bananas. And bananas. Kells, I actually have a video of it on my YouTube channel that walks through kind of what I do. But for that specifically, I look at the close. So for example, if I want to look at, S&P 500, next week's implied move, just using Thinkorswim, there's a couple other platforms that do it. I'd be looking out to the one a month from now or a week from now. And I'd be looking right here. And when the market closes, I'm going to get that level.
From Feds Myron in Fox Business says data supports rate cuts.
The app that I'm using for news is coming directly from Thinkorswim platform. So if you have Thinkorswim, you can go to chat rooms, you hit global news. Once you click that, you hit this listen button.
Feds Myron argues that data should make the Fed more dovish, not less.
I used to pay for news services, and now I do not, because I use that. Shadang, dang, 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 dang. CRM. Yeah, it's not the greatest, context, but it is consolidating. Gotta be careful with these lower high, like these lower, kind of like walking the plank. The bears keep on stepping more into the bull camp, right? I think Clorox looked just like that. Look at Clorox, it did the same thing, right? Lower highs, and then it broke and then went bam. Right, so weak got weaker. Target, Disney, what have we there? Not the greatest reaction. What other kind of names? Real was one that we posted a while ago. This was on a video that I posted. This thing fired off. Whatever happened to Best Buy? That was setting up. That's getting pretty tight. Best Buy's looking pretty good, but the only thing is you have earnings around the corner. So, if this started showing strength, maybe you get a quick pop, but you got earnings. So once again, it's just, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. Do I like leveraged ETFs? Yeah, I do. I'll trade those on occasion. Like today I traded TQQQ. Can I share the eyeball range? I am not making that one public yet. Basically because one, there's problems with it and I have to kind of adjust it every day, but I'd have to work through some of those bugs. And I don't like it. I have it on my screen, but I still prefer my Asher levels, or from the eyeball range alerts from my Asher bot, which are different from the ones from Thinkorswim because it's a different implied volatility. So I have to manually adjust the implied volatility skew to make it make sense. It's annoying. It really is obnoxious.
Also notes he
so
argues that shelter inflation
when I put out my market brief, if you go to the SPY channel, like this one, right, this eyeball level, this is the correct level from my Asher bot, but on the market brief, it's going to be off by a few cents because I have to manually go in there and calculate it out and give an estimate of what it is, because it takes the day for the API to load.
2,000 shares in Netflix, dissolved its share stake in Eli Lilly LLY, and also reports share stake in Netflix, but dissolves its stake in Novo Nordisk as well, and cut share stake in Meta by 62.6% to 2.8 million Class A shares.
Yes, I am Portuguese. Yes, sir. My dad is born and raised in Pico, the Azure Islands. Yes, I love it. Okay. Coming back in a little bit here. Let's take a quick gander over at Market Net Flow. It's been gray this pretty much entire time of consolidation.
Fed's Myron. He says that wage gains have moderated.
Sounds like Fed speak right now, 672. So 672 is a big green bar, and we could kind of repel away from that if we get to it. But if we start breaking under it, that'd be a little bit more of a concern there. Your family's from the Azores? Nice. Nice. What island? Let me guess. Treseda. I love Treseda. That's why I said that one. What about IoT? We can take a look at IoT.
And Fed's Myron says it is a mistake to let the job market get softer.
So IoT, there's clearly a clear level here. So you are seeing, higher lows, which is, decent at least, but you're getting really kind of your headbutt over here at that year-to-date VWAP and a declining 200-day moving average. So perhaps if we can get back up here and then actually break, then you have an idea for stop, and then perhaps that opens the door to come like up to these higher levels. So buying down here, there's a higher probability of coming out and breaking down. You do have earnings too about around the corner. But if we can tighten up here as the market's pressing in here and actually prove itself, I can see the case for that. A little sloppy, but they moved to Hawaii in the 1800s. Gotcha. That's cool that you know your family tree back that far.
Myron reiterating, monetary policy should be forward-looking.
That's awesome. E-mini? I mean, what you want to talk about? It looks just like this day. The world's ending. The world's ending. Boing, boing. I will say you can always look at emotions via the length of these candles. So this was a huge recovery here, right? And then all of a sudden you had a big expansion, like big range candle, then a little bit smaller body, and then even a smaller body. And that just shows you that the emotion is waning, right? So you get this big just like authoritative move, and then the authority of the bullishness is shrinking and shrinking, and then they couldn't hold it. Instead of consolidating, then it went bam, right? The bears then took over, bam, followed through, and then all of a sudden we're coming right back up. So perhaps Monday, right, if things go good, we get a nice follow through. Potentially run into some problems over here at about 68.51, 68.50. But these are some wide ranges. These are big ranges, huge ranges in the ES. Can I look at CART? Yeah, I can look at CART. Yeah, I mean, look at the chart. It's just all over the place. It's just sloppy. I mean, I guess where, you're kind of breaking, are you saying like this, where it can be, potential for the double bottom? Yeah, perhaps, but you're going to be fighting a year-to-date VWAP and the 200-day. So from here to here, okay, but then you still, I would prefer to see it consolidate and set up a better risk reward, because if I enter now, I don't know where my stop's going to go. Like down here, I feel like that's pretty dramatic. I don't want to have to go through, a 14% plus drawdown potentially, or a longer consolidation and have my money tied up. You got $50, you need 80 by the end of 4 p.m. I know exactly what you got to do. You put the $50 in your pocket. You call a friend and say, hey, I need to borrow $30 and I'll pay you back when I work. But I would not gamble if that was actually true, like you need it. RR, is that a stock or are you talking about like risk to reward? I'm assuming you mean the stock. So yeah, I mean, this is getting pretty tight. So you'll probably see bounces, but you know, once again, and it's a little kind of a lower volume like draw out, but so once again, I prefer like this, right? You get a strong move up, people get excited, then it pulls back into what? Inclining 20, 50, 200. Price action tightens up, volume dries up, volume high on the breakout. Guess what? Then we follow through, boom, price pulls back in, tightens up, bam, breakout on higher volume.
He says the Fed
now what are we doing?
Not consistent with its mandate.
Came all the way in. It's a little bit loud and sloppy now. Right? So if you trade this, then I have to get more tactical. I have to look at the 5-day moving average, see if it can get above it, see if it flattens out, start to turn up. Then I have to have a tighter stop.
Non-Republicans, state attorney general.
If I'm trying to swing trade it, I need better setups.
Southern and Union Pacific merger. Of note there for Norfolk Southern and Union Pacific.
Todo bien.
Just want to be aware of the US does issue a general license authorizing transactions involving certain Lukoil entities in Bulgaria.
That was an inside trading candle right now with the SPY on the 15-minute time frame. Price action digesting a little bit.
And Fed's Myron says changing border policy is disinflationary.
Yeah, Baba. We got the Baba news earlier today.
Just of note, in Brazil,
Still
the Supreme Court panel forms a majority to try lawmaker Bolsonaro for courting Trump interference in the ex-president Bolsonaro's criminal case.
DJT stock hit a 2 standard deviation move today, just now. Ay caramba, 11:15. Oh my gosh, look at it. It was literally right here. Doink. That just hit a 2 standard deviation move. Ah! What am I doing here? Order confirmation. I don't even trade on Thinkorswim. I don't trade here.
Just further from the US Treasury, license also authorizes petroleum services and other transactions related to the Caspian Pipeline Consortium.
DJT, 2 standard deviation move. Oh man, this thing has been going down hard too. Look at that. Crack, 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 crack. And today, 2 standard deviation move. Let's see if it's actually, what's the, probably lower weekly too. How about monthly? No, nothing there. I have to manually pull it up.
Do note, US President Trump is likely to sell F-35 fighters to Saudis, according to Bloomberg, citing US official.
P10, yeah, I'm gonna take a look at P10. PTN. PTN. It's so you're fighting. It's in a downtrend, right? But if you're just looking for energy, whatever for whatever reasons, like you believe that energy is going to get higher, I at least will say that it is getting pretty tight here. It's getting coiled up, and you have the 50-day sloping up now. The 20-day is actually sloping. You're just fighting a bigger trend. 200-day declines, right? And it's going to take a while for this thing to flatten out and turn up. Right? Even if you pop up here, it can still come right back down here, and it would still be probably, taking some time. And then you have the year-to-date volume weighted average price too that it can't get above. So price action is getting pretty tight. So that's one thing. But it probably has some work to do to get through all this and actually start to become a more positive trend. And you can see that, right? If you were trying to do it through here, the 40-week here, here is the same thing, right? It just kept on getting tagged and hit. And now we've actually been trading sideways for a little bit of a while, but still nothing has flattened out yet. You do see some bullish divergences here in like the, MACD and stuff like that. So there's possibilities here, that's for sure. You just got to manage risk. Start small, build. You're not going to get the perfect entry, that's for sure. So you got to just go slow. I'm hoping to see something more interesting take place today. I mean, I guess it was a pretty interesting day, one may say. Green line, cumulative net premiums of calls are still kind of heading down here. It'd be actually kind of nice to see this turn up and this to get convergence. We have 672 beneath us. Okay, well, let's...
Just further from his treasury license regarding Lukoil, does authorize some transactions involving Lukoil retail service stations outside of Russia.
Oh, billed for 2 years. Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, you got some time.
Contracts for sale of Lukoil International.
What do I trade with? Like, what do you mean? Like my platform or something? Or are you talking about? Oh, because I don't trade. Because I said I don't trade on Thinkorswim. I have Interactive Brokers, Fidelity. Typically execute on them. I use this for like just market research. Thanks, Agard. I hope to as well. You think? I mean, right now, this has just been a consolidation. Now we're breaking above this high of the 15-minute candle. Right? We pulled in. We had a bullish outside candle inside. I mean, if this starts turning up and this starts going down, if this starts turning green, this opens the door to just kind of go right back up to 67.60 and the gamma flip line. Fidelity stopped allowing trading ETFs, though. I mean, I swing trade from the account. I don't day trade from there. Is that what you mean? I have ETFs. I definitely execute in ETFs, though. What stock? PayPal? PayPal? Ew, grossy. Yeah, PayPal ain't doing too hot. It hasn't been doing anything. Tried to do something over here. Ugh, man. Jimmy? What's this? Ouch. AMD. I think it just has to set up again to feel a little bit more confident, right? It's kind of just consolidating here. Maybe if it can set up through more time, that'd be nice. And then I would have a better risk to reward for a potential, follow through. But if you're in it, I mean, there's no reason to get out of it. Maybe you update your stops or something like that, but it's holding up well if you're already in it. Any preference for puts or covered calls for risk management? No, my main thing for risk management is just larger cash positions. Once the market starts stopping me out of positions, or when we go under gamma flip line, my cash position usually increases, and that's kind of how I manage volatility in my portfolio. I think those are great ideas, though. Covered calls, right? If you're protecting positions that you have on for longer term positions, but I typically am just kind of more in and out faster. And I've always felt more comfortable just getting out of the positions.
It does allow for talks and possible sale of Lukoil's foreign-owned assets.
For people that don't know, like, yeah, oh, there we go. There's a six. There's that tag, by the way. So there's the breakout there, and then the S&P 500 ran right back up to the 6760. Potentially the gamma flip line. I could have traded that. Probably would have if I wasn't live. Hey, thanks, Vulture. Welcome to the channel. Welcome. I do market briefs, so make sure you subscribe. How long I've been trading for? I'd have to count. It's been a long time. But I do get, just because I'm probably one of the only YouTubers that do this, is for the last 3 years, I've been getting my performance verified in the United States Investing Champion. I don't compete. Well, I guess in theory, technically I'm competing, but I don't compete for like the first place prize. I just do it just so I can send in and get things verified. And then I share what I do. That's what I do. And I do some live streams on occasion. Yeah, trading for, oh man, I don't know. It's been a long time. And it's been so different as the market evolves, right? Things evolve. So I have to approach things differently when, I mean, you know what's crazy is, you know, when you think about it, it's like the markets has changed so dramatically in such a short period of time. Like it's I can count like how many years it's been since we've, on one hand, that we've seen the rise in various 1DTE options expirations. I guess in theory, when the first option came out, contract, that was 1DTE, because you get to the expiration, then there's that 1DTE. But now we have daily expirations. That's pretty new. It's pretty darn new. And the amount of products that are getting them are getting more. It was weeklies, then it was, you know, then we had started getting them on Wednesdays. All right. And then, you know, and this changes things. It changes things dramatically. It's pretty cool. So you always got to be open to adapting and changing when things change. Thanks, Voltura. Gee. What do I think of Rocket Lab? Yeah, let me take a look. I can't remember exactly what was said, but let's take a look and we can try to pull it up. Do you know when we said that? Do you know when we said it was looking like distribution? Like, was it here or was it here? I can take a guess, but if you have like specifics, maybe I can like try to think through what I said. But you know, if I would imagine I said it around here, maybe here. Dang, mechanic Matt, that's awesome. It's probably because you're a mechanic. Taking notes. Yeah, definitely changed quite a bit since 2020. A lot of, markets change. I got to change. I got to adapt. And plus, a lot of the time, you know, going through this, I tell people, I give the people the analogy of the sculptor, right? You get all this information, all this wealth of knowledge, you build out, but you like pretend like this is the big block of marble or whatever that a sculptor gets. And this is for us, for traders, this is like strategies, like scans and like all just everything that you learn about the markets is this. And then you got to all of a sudden realize, like, if you look back at what you've been trading and you're not being successful, like, you know all of this information, but is it necessary? So then you have to start chipping away at it. Chip, sculpt, and just remove everything that's like noise. And then all of a sudden, you know, you kind of hone your own perfect, you know, sculpture. End of October. So right around here. Okay. And you said that I said that it looked like distribution. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these names went on huge runs, and then, okay, I think if I'm thinking through it, what I probably was talking about was we went on such a large run and you get this explosive kind of move to the upside. And then all of a sudden you get really, really large ranges. And this typically happens during periods of distribution where all of a sudden then things start getting very volatile after a big run, where you want to be more honed in on the early bases in a markup phase. I mean, it goes back even further than that. I'm just right here, but even, something like this, right? So after a very strong move like this, way outside of, these averages, way above them, you got to see if it tightens up and shapes back up. But these, if I were to look at this over here, I'd say, yeah, I'd want to see it build out a base for longer. This one did follow through to the downside, which still could be distribution, but we are still above a rising 200. We're still at the year-to-date VWAP, still above that. And the shorter-term averages were below. So yeah, it could be 6 months before we reach this high again. It could be a lot faster, right? If there's news, but I mean, look at it from the weekly perspective. I mean, it went from $6 to 75. So this is going to see pops higher, right? It's going to catch into the 40-week and 30-week moving average. It almost did. Maybe it does something like that. It comes back up, then puts in some sort of a lower high, and then starts turning down. Or this is, something bigger that's taking place, and we're getting pullbacks in a markup, a larger markup phase, right? Because you still have a 30-week inclining and a 40-week inclining. So if this actually did this for like a long time, I mean, then you're looking at a much better base over a period. It's gonna take a while for these names to heal moves like this and actually set back up, right? I like bases like this. This base took, 78 days. This base over here, took 169 days. ARQT. You know what? I don't even think I put a stop loss on ARQT yet. But if I were to do it, it'd be under today's low now. I took some profit. The reason why I didn't put a stop is because I was just taking a small position, but I didn't realize that it was like that high of a beta.
And WTI crude futures.
So I went with my regular small position size, not thinking much. And I was like, and it was up quite a bit. I'm like, whoa. So I had to trim it back to like make a little bit more sense. I don't want this one position moving my entire portfolio at all. So I trimmed it back. My stop, I'll update it under here. I'm just under today's low. That's fine with me. I took some profits. If I get stopped out, I think it'd probably be just a small loss because I just took some profits today. Oh. You got stopped out this morning, you said? Yeah, once again, so it was just a small position for me. So I didn't even have a stop on. If I had a stop, I was probably looking at the low of this. That's what I would have done, right? Not down here because that's too much, but it would have been under the low of this. So I would have probably I almost would have gotten stopped out. But I did. It was such a small position from a percentage base of portfolio. I didn't even put it in. Which is not something that I recommend, which means I have to go in there and do it. So. Crypto's not recovering? What's crypto up to? You're not kidding, man. Crypto looks ugly. Crypto. Problem is on Rocket Lab, I can't make a profit. I mean, that would be a concern, definitely through time, right? If it's like fundamentals do matter, that's for sure, right? Especially for the people that want to hold things throughout a longer period and feel more confident during drawdowns. You want, profits. You want companies to be profitable.
the
You want them to be
FAA
innovative,
ground
which that
stop
one
at
checks the box, I
Washington,
think, right,
D.C.
for
Lincoln
innovation.
National Airport due to staffing issues.
Futu, Chinese name here, I believe, right? Hit a 2 standard deviation daily implied move today. Just now at 166.46. That's a 2 standard deviation move today. Think of things in terms of distribution curves. So, you know, is there going to be much more sell side today? Yeah, there's always possibility, but this has already moved 2 standard deviations, right? We had DJT, right? We marked that one out just so we can kind of watch it and see what happens. We marked it right when it hit it. What's it doing? Nothing. Nothing right now, at least. It's kind of going sideways, which makes me think that we can break lower. Those were some that just came through. Restoration Hardware, RH, that hit a lower daily implied move today. This thing moves, by the way. Restoration Hardware, this thing can move. It is a volatile stock. Oh, Restoration Hardware. My wife wants the cloud couch, and I was like, are you kidding me? No. We have a little toddler. Well, it was a baby at the time. And then now we have another baby coming. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? A cloud couch? You kidding me? They'll destroy it. You know how much pain and anxiety will go through my chest watching them destroy a couch that's that expensive? You do not want to see me like that. I'll be in pain in the corner. How do you calculate 1 day expected move for ticker, which does not have options expiring the next day? I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. You need to look up various calculations. I mean, there's different calculations to do it. For me, I mean, you would. It depends on the implied volatility, where you're getting that data from. Like, I couldn't walk you through the because the way that my implied volatility is calculated in my IVOL range, it's proprietary stuff. Like, it's pretty heavy duty stuff. But some, like, for example, like something like Thinkorswim, most stocks will have the implied volatility. So you're taking it from the IV30. I believe it's IV30. You can even adjust that, I think. And then go from there. Some people like to look at realized vol, which is kind of like an ATR. I'm more of the implied volatility. And then you're calculating, you got to just break it down. I mean, there's so many ways to do it. I mean, even like for the S&P 500, if you're like, you can actually pull an expected move from just looking at the VIX, like using the rule of 16. Here, I'll actually share this. Let me see here, monthly trade. Let me find it. Here, check this out. Screenshot. This is VIX levels. The VIX value is in percentage terms, by the way. So 1 all the way down to 50, all the way down to 100, which, whatever. Then it shows the implied move, broken down from a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Right. So if you're looking for the daily implied move, say if VIX is at 21, right, which kind of where we're at, you're looking at about a 1.32% implied move. That'd be one, and by the way, that's 1 standard deviation, right? 1 standard deviation. This is just, the rule of 16, basically. There you go. Do I use order book, pool tools? Yeah, we can look. Oh, that's interesting. Pachinko. So growth phase, yeah. Do I use order book, pool tools? Like, are you talking like Bookmap? Is that, you know, are you saying something like this? I do. On occasion. Not like religiously all the time, but if this is what you mean, like I'll look at the order book or, you know, see what's going on. I have one little day trade that I like to do called the buy stop pop. And I look for, you know, like for example, like Tesla or something, if there's like a big order block here and it's been nice consolidating, I want to put my buy stop order through the level, because if all these orders are cleared, perhaps we get a pop, right? So buy, stop, pop, and then you sell it into the next level.
September rate cuts, but in October, she would have preferred to have held steady.
Well, these orders come through, man. This came in pretty nicely. Look at it. They've just been kind of stepping this price up. It's been holding here.
And Logan says, for the December meeting, it would be hard for her to support another rate cut.
Walking price up. Okay, so yeah, I do. And basically in short, right? Pepsi, let's take a look at Pep. Pep in my step.
And, you know, Logan says she will be watching the data and financial developments. Do you know, this view from Logan about wanting to have held in October is a repeat from when she last spoke at the end of October.
I think the main time I was looking at Pepsi was down here.
Also Kashkari.
But we had earnings, so I couldn't do anything about it. And so, you know, if I'm looking at this, it is going sideways. But take a look. We are getting back above the year-to-date VWAP 200-day. Yeah, there's a lot of noise here.
And it is trending higher.
So if you want it to like look cleaner, it kind of is this like this area of supply through here, where every time we come up here, but you can see we're putting in higher lows right now. So anything below this 140, watch out. But you never know. Like we can come back and test this, then people will start maybe calling this like an inverse head and shoulder.
And she says that
target would be around 200 on that, a measured move for something like that. It's loud.
And she says that
it's kind of all over the place.
Balanced than in September.
But I can see the case for, you know, this starting to base out finally. A lot of these consumer staple names have been yeah. Crisp is on the move. Yeah, Crisp. Yeah, this was right down to the 200 and a year-to-date VWAP.
Evidence of inflation coming down or labor market worsening.
Pretty steep decline too. So
rates cut in December.
In names like this, like right, if you don't want to chase it up at these highs, right, what you can do is come into the lower time frames. Let's go Crisp. And apply a volume weighted average price to the low, and then look for consolidations in for this to hold. So if the 5-day moving average starts to flatten out, if this comes in and starts to shape up, then it might give you a better entry versus, you know, chasing. And if you don't, you know, sometimes if you chase, it keeps going, right? But sometimes if you don't chase it, it keeps going. But I always like to say, okay, well, where did price come from, right? It was already a big move, right? So now I want to see it consolidate, and sometimes it doesn't. And then I have to move on. Big deal, right? It happens all the time, actually. Just want to see if I'm legit. Cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what your definition of legit is, but I get my PA verified every month in the United States Investing Championship for the last 3 years. Actually, oh no, my plaque is behind me. Oh yeah, I got last year's. Yoo-hoo! Last year's plaque. I don't compete, but last year was 45%. Pretty nice. This year I'm right around the same range. I'm at like 40%. I don't compete to get these like crazy numbers because I don't like risking like that. And I trade a larger account than what's the minimum requirement. I came in third place in a Hedgeye competition. They did a Hedgeye trading competition. Pretty strict rules there. Third place, which, you know, whatever. Tradeify. I made a video about that. I traded futures prop firm. I spent $2,500 to buy 5 accounts, and I got $80,000 in payouts. I paid for my entire backyard. Kind of recorded that and showed people what I did. That was cool too. And now I've slowed down. I'm kind of just, I need a little bit of a break. So I slowed down how much exposure I have right now in the markets. I'll take little stabs, but I just need a little bit of a break. It's been go, 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 go for me. So I've been taking it a little bit easier these last
and just more here from Logan. She's not seeing signs that core
few
services,
weeks.
ex-housing, is moving toward 2% inflation. She's focused on underlying inflation, and it is persistent, she says.
Any trade on Meta or CoreWeave?
And she says
Any trade
that's
on Meta or
honestly
CoreWeave?
restrictive policy.
I
is
don't have any trade on
appropriate.
Meta or CoreWeave right now, no. Meta tag today, it's lower implied move for the week. I missed it. I miss a lot. I do technically have Meta on, but it's not Meta direct. I did earlier trading the triple Qs. And now I still have I still have some Qs on too, because I've been trading around a core position there. So I technically have exposure to this stuff. You got Microsoft at the low today. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, Microsoft, nice big reversal at highs today. It's great. Let's take a look back over here. So remember this that we set up. We had this outside day when we said we had an outside candle. Then we had an inside candle. We broke above it and we started pressing a little bit higher. This one is also another inside candle. So compressing, still bullish context. Let's take a look at market net flow if it's confirming. Market net flow, green line up, red line down. It's been converging. And then the S&P 500 is back over to these levels. This was the area that we marked out when price was right here. We marked out this green box. You'd have to go back in the stream to see it. And the reason we did this was because we were looking at where the market participants were aggregating at, where they were all coagulating. What's the word? It's not working right now. It's not loading, but it was basically right in these areas. And we came down, we bounced, we came back down, we bounced back up. Pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. A lot of opportunities I missed actually today.
Brent crude futures,
But it was a great
says
trading day
$1.38
for me today.
38 cents,
So,
$64.39
I guess,
per
you know,
barrel.
you just gotta day done sort of stuff, right? Day done yesterday, day done today. Which do you think the best sectors are the best since tech and above? I mean, the sectors are going to change constantly of what I think is good. I think healthcare has been good. So one of the trade ideas that I posted on healthcare was this one right here, down here. And then it started consolidating like this. And I was like, man, that looks good too. So I started looking at like gear for a leveraged one, and that thing took off. So I wouldn't buy it up at these levels. I would now say look for consolidations and things to set back up. Biotech also has been doing incredibly well. Look for consolidations in this space. You don't buy the high after a strong move. You gotta look for pullbacks and consolidations. Energy has been kind of going sideways. I'm not really a fan. Maybe if oil really starts perking up a lot more, but it's still in a bearish trend. So I'm not a huge, maybe there's going to be names within the sector that probably do good. XLK is still doing good.
There's a note for Meta. It's reportedly set to grade staff on their AI impact starting in 2026, according to Insider.
Utilities was a trade idea down here. Now utilities, I mean, this is just pulling into a 50-day. I mean, this doesn't look bad.
And Fed's Logan says
That doesn't
the
look bad at
market is
all.
cooling gradually, which is appropriate as they get inflation down.
So utilities looks like it's setting up. I mean, it did it right here too. And then I've been keeping an eye on bonds. Bonds got hit today, basically on the back of oil's big moves. So even bonds, I traded, I think here and here, and then got out throughout here. And then I don't have a position yet, but today seems like a day that I might want to just execute some into and start trying to
Logan
trade around bonds again.
To deliver a more preemptive insurance.
Look at this
to
move.
the
What
labour
was
market
going on
via
here?
a rate cut.
We had some news data or something. That was a massive reversal. Was that 5:30? Four o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I'd have to look. I wasn't paying attention. There's a lot of noise on social media. 3 things to avoid and ignore. People that think that they've solved the market or have conviction. So ignore anybody that has strong convictions that aren't willing to tell you when they're going to be wrong. Just ignore it. It's noise. It doesn't matter if they're right or they're wrong. If they have strong convictions, a good trader always has an if-then statement. I'm bullish, super bullish, and it's going to go to here because of X, Y, Z. But I could be wrong because if it does this, right? Or if it reports that or whatever. So you always need to make sure you're paying attention to that. I guess the next would be, any golden cup strategy, what is it, a holy grail strategy, ignore it. Unless if it is actually the holy grail strategy, because that is one that was developed in the 90s by Linda Rashiki. It's just a specific trading strategy, right? It's just a trade setup. And then I think the biggest thing, not to ignore, but I think that if you should hone around the 4 things that you can focus. So focus on your controllables. And if anything falls with outside of this, it's going to probably put you in a bad position. But one is what you buy, right? That's one. And I have a little YouTube short on this too. And then when you buy it. Third is how much of it, and then when you sell. I got to see what's going on outside my house. Oh, Gardner's here. Gold and silver got hammered. Yeah, there was some big moves there today in gold and silver. Big moves, big ranges, big moves. Ignore you? What'd you say? I miss things. I don't see any message from you. What are you talking about? What you talking about, Willis? Can't assume things. You're right. Market top is in. We know this. It's not true. Wait, what? Oh. Yeah, Coco's just defending while Coco's going crazy. I don't quite understand the question about the market makers wanting to pay. I mean, if they've already made the market for the position's on. Oh, okay, so Michael, those ETFs, which companies within those ETFs have good earnings? I mean, are you talking about for like healthcare? TXG, I think, would be a good one to watch. I mean, yeah, also, I mean, even if it has good earnings, watch how it reacts on earnings. So TXG, Cardinal Health was one I made on a video. Look at that. Yeah, I'm not going to buy up here, but if it consolidates again, like it did over here, right? To name a few. Those have been strong. What's another one? Maybe WGS. This is another one that's hasn't really moved too much, but looks pretty good. Could be another one to maybe keep an eye on. And I believe that the fundamental look of this was pretty good too. So I overlooked you too. What are you talking about? I must overlook some of the messages. I saw your messages earlier, Dan. But was it a recent one? You think we swept yesterday's point of control from yesterday's? Point of control on like, are you talking about volume profile? I guess it just depends on the date range of your volume profile. Because it changes, you know, when you add more data. If that's what you mean. All right, we're coming into power hour. So powerful. The power of the hour. It's pretty interesting to see gold down so much and the dollar hasn't done anything. Or maybe the dollar did some stuff. No, the dollar ain't done anything today. Big move in gold. I wonder if that's potentially because that's probably a potential response to yields today, because yields had a big move today too. Maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know what the correlation is right now, though. User, the news in the background is from Thinkorswim platform. So if you go into the chat rooms, you can actually hit global news. Once you do that, you can hit listen. Okta. Was I looking at this one yesterday? No, it's not this one. I think it was called Okra. Yeah, I mean, this one's near the year-to-date lows, not the greatest trend. So I would need this to shape up a little bit or look at the smaller time frames. Is it Okra? No. Orca? Oh, yeah, Orca. This one, I mean, has been kind of going sideways, consolidating. I think this popped up on my radar. I don't know when. I don't have a position, but it's been kind of just consolidating sideways in bullish context. Oh, you meant Oracle? This one pulled back into an inclining 200-day. This thing got beaten up. So yeah, you'll probably get some relief. I mean, we're kind of seeing that now with a nice outside day. But even if we come up, like, you know, where are we going? Like, it would still need to consolidate, put in a higher low. Dude, my dog is going crazy. I gotta find out what's going on. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. What is going on? Okay, give me a second. World be falling apart over here. My goodness. Okay, I'm back. How do I like TrendSpider as opposed to other platforms? I mean, it really depends on what you're trying to do. So Thinkorswim is free. And you could do a lot with Thinkorswim. And you get more data with Thinkorswim, like around options that you do not get with TrendSpider yet. And I don't know if they're going to even have their implied volatility stuff there or not. But I do like TrendSpider. I have been getting more used to TradingView. But man, Thinkorswim is free. That's hard to beat. So you get Thinkorswim, right? You create the account or whatever. You set it up. You do not mark yourself as a professional, so you can get live data, real-time data. And then, I don't know, you could put like 50, I put like 400 or 500 bucks in the account. And this, I mean, I have Charles Schwab accounts, but I only put on this that's tied to this. I only put like
benefiting from AI-related investment.
Like a 500 bucks or something like that in it. And I don't trade the money. It's just in there. I actually think it takes money out every month because of Bookmap. So, I mean, that's great. And then I like TrendSpider a lot. There's so many tools that, like, it's just so many things that you can do with it. And I just haven't really dug into the depths of all of it.
So it's ALKT, Alchemy Technology. John Partners built a new stake in Alchemy Tech in Q3, according to sources via Reuters.
Hey, thanks, user. I appreciate that.
Just to clarify, this is for Alchemy Technology, ALKT.
Can I save Bull? I must save Webull. Ugh. This thing has just been brutalized. It just feels so heavy. I'll try my best. BLSH, what's that? It's actually like called bullish. Like, what is this? Bullish.com. It operates bullish exchange, a digital assets, spot and derivatives exchange that integrates central limit order book. Financial name. Looks just like it. That's funny. How ironic. You got Webull, like, and the ticker's bull, and it's straight down. Same with bullish. How dare they? How dare they? We should make one called bear, and it just goes straight up. Let's be real. They have not earned that ticker. Not yet, no. Not yet. We got to make one that's bear and just make that thing go vertical. Is there a bear already? Vermont teddy bear. I don't think so. BEHR? Bear? How about beer? No. ArcBot bullish? Oh, really? Interesting. That's kind of cool. Cool to know. The Innovation Fund, BBAI. We've seen some higher lows here. Consolidating. Maybe if it shapes up a little bit more. You look at the weekly time frame, and hey, this could be setting something up. But I mean, a lot to prove. And the thing is, like, I say that because, like, look at Oscar. It did the same thing, and then it broke down. Boom. It was looking pretty good right through here, but then it breaks down.
Do you know, we are just getting some of the more data announcements here from the BLS. The employment situation for September was previously scheduled for October 3rd, now be released on Thursday, November 20th at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So the employment situation will be released
today, or
September
like
reference periods will be released on Thursday, November 20th. That is next Thursday, and that will be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And meanwhile, real earnings, they'll be released on Friday, November 21st. That's next Friday, Also 8:30 Eastern or 1:30 London.
I mean, it can go. It can. Remember, you can always drop another 50%. Right? You can always drop another 50%. Right now, today, it's down to its 2 standard deviation expected move. It's below it, actually. Sort of, like, kind of. So I don't know how low it can go, but you can always lose another 50%, right? 10.
There's a note for Barrack
to
Mining.
5
Does
to
consider the possibility
250.
of splitting company into 2
It's getting
entities. Split would result in a separate North America and Africa Asia operations, according to sources via Reuters.
OPCH, let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's really a long time. Holy moly. This thing has just been going sideways, range bound. I mean, we do have a little bit of a turning upside on this, on the MACD. And then also, if you pay attention to this, right? So if you're going long to play to the upper range and potentially higher, at least you have a stop down here. So you can actually, there is a decent RVR through this and potentially higher, but you got to make sure that, you know, the position size makes sense. You got to be okay with losing 14%. And it's kind of slow. So it's under all these key averages. I want things to move faster. The goal for me is to make the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of risk. And if it's going to take me too long to like see the good move, like I don't want to wait through things like this. I want to see the move happen fast, or I want to know when I'm right fast and when I'm wrong fast so I can get my money out of it. As far as the service that I use for options, Gamma, I mean, I have I like Gamma Lab. I have Trady Tick too as well. And then some of the options, I mean, the Trady Ticks and the bots that are in the server do kind of like option flow stuff. But that's all I use. I don't have any like, a lot of the stuff that I use is based off of options data. Expected
note
moves.
for RTX, US State Department approves potential sale of Standard Missile 6 Block 1 and Standard Missile 2 Block to Germany for an estimated $3.5 billion.
Oh, that's awesome, Queens. Did I do hymns already? I did not do hymns. I don't think. Yeah, I liked the look of hymns over here. And then it broke out and came back in, so I no longer like it. You got to get out because it expanded, it looked good, came out. So now it's below all these averages. Yeah, you'll probably get bounces back up, but I like these setups better because if this were to take off like a rocket ship, I would have caught it, but it didn't. So I get out and then I wait for a new setup. But I just liked how it was basing here basically for the year. And then faked us out. ARQT is still moving. What is going on with ARQT? Them biotechs. I'll take it. Yeah, that's wild. I don't know. I mean, I'll take it. I'm about to... It's just moving so heavy. Like I don't even, like, once again, I don't need this big of a position. I reduced already and now it's back up again to the percent of the account that it was valued at that I just trimmed. It's like, what the heck, dude? This thing is like, I just got to keep like what, volatility adjusting this dang thing? I know I can keep it going, but I also know that these things turn around quick. I'm gonna trim it just a slight more, just to keep it at that right proper percentage of my portfolio, to actually keep it within the context of a small position. I know I can You know, it has the potential to keep going and stuff, but I just want to keep it adjusted correctly. It's crazy. How do you conquer trading paralysis? It's been a huge issue for me lately when I've been observing stock market moves. Are you saying like you're too afraid to enter or get in when the opportunities arrive? Or because the market did something, you choose not to respond to something? The thing with, so it comes down to this. So it's not about like overcoming the paralysis. It's having confidence in your strategy and your controllables. I think that the more you focus in on the things that you can control, that paralysis kind of leaves because you build more confidence internally and you're not really worried about what everything else is. So the 4 things you can control is what you buy, when you buy it, how much you buy it, and when you sell it. And notice how none of that requires you knowing where it can go to, how much you can make. It doesn't require that. It requires getting very honed in on position sizing, like having a strategy around position sizing, and know when your strategy works good in what environment. And I talk about it all the time in my stuff. Like for me, I'm basically a trend trader, swing trader, right? When the market conditions are set up for it. I use the gamma flip line to tell me when market conditions change. When they change, I maybe become more shorter term. My risk in the market decreases. So I think to really get rid of the paralysis, it's one, lower your position sizing. Don't be trying to catch the biggest move the fastest. So that's one thing. So get comfortable with small wins, small losses. Get good at that before sizing up, and then build a lot of confidence around your strategy, which involves answering and having answers to all those 4 things of what you buy, when you buy it, how much, and when you sell. And you'll probably do it just significantly better. Stop worrying about like how high you can go. Like I don't care about potential targets. When it comes to risk to reward, like yeah, you can have an idea of where it can go to, and maybe take some off, but don't worry too much about the perfect entries, right? If you're not like oversizing. Start small. And the reason why I say that is because, right, if I see a stock that I like for example, if I just saw this going now, I'm like, dude, I really like it. I don't think it's going to come back down yet. I wouldn't enter a full position here. I would be like, okay, I'm just going to throw a little bit in there just to kind of scratch the itch and just put a little pilot in there, probably smaller than 1% of my portfolio if it was right here. And then I'm going to keep it on my radar. And if it pulls in, maybe I'll try to build into it and then try to see some follow through. But if it kept going and I just got a little bit, well, guess what? I just made a little bit on that position. So having an idea of how you respond and react on certain moves or when you go, like it shouldn't be a full size position every entry. Boom, 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 boom. Like it doesn't. And the reason, once again, why I say that, another thing is if you look back at all your entries on all the stocks that you traded, chances are every single entry, maybe a few of them, maybe a very small percentage, were perfect entries. It went against you for a little bit, or it went higher, then it dragged lower, went more sideways. So that's why I say take your time with it, because the probability of you getting perfect hits every single time, pretty low, unless if you go into smaller time frames and you're much more of a high frequency executor. I'm talking from like a more of a daily perspective and trend perspective, if that makes sense. So I don't know. That was a long answer, long-winded, with a couple of off-roads. Amazon's back at the lower implied move. Where's the market at? Oh, coming back down, doing some sideways action. It ain't doing anything. This thing stopped loading. You punk. Why? 2486. Yeah, I'm probably right through here. There's could be some areas of resistance. Is it too risky to swing AMD over the weekend? I mean, you can swing whatever you want over the weekend and not be risky. Your sizing is what's risky, right? Right? If you have a 100% size position in AMD, yeah, it's always risky. No matter what stock it is, it's going to be risky. Don't think in terms of where it can go is the risk. Like it goes up, it's risk. Goes down, it's risk. You can't control that. What you can control is how much you put into it to make it actually risky for you. So if this is super risky and this is not at all risky and this is neutral and you don't have a good setup, I would be somewhere under neutral, where if I take an overnight position or over a weekend position, I'd want to focus here. So it'd be a smaller position. So even if it gaps down to 220, my portfolio ain't moving down 10% or 5%. Right? Yeah, when opportunities arrive, yeah. You trade based off of the implied moves? Cool, yeah, they're great. They're great tools. You can do some great stuff. I love my daily implied moves right now. Like, I've been loving these 2 standard deviation moves, testing out a few things around them. It's been pretty cool. And then on the more liquid products, I like dailies, just the 1 standard deviation. I do not remember the Kramer chart.
Just so you are aware, in about 5 minutes' time, we'll look out for any potential commentary from Fed's Bostic. Do you know, we did hear from him earlier in the week. He did note initially, they did eventually end up supporting rate cuts in October. But we did also hear that Bostic is set to retire at the end of February 2026.
So small to me.
And in his recent speech, he did note that despite shifts in the labour market, the clearer and urgent risk is still price stability. He does favour keeping the Fed funds rate steady until they see clear evidence of inflation moving towards 2%.
So small to me, right? Depends on the beta of the product, right? So equities are an asset class. Currencies are an asset class. Commodities are an asset class. Fixed income is an asset class, and all of these have different betas, right? And then within these products, there's also other products that have different betas too, high, low. So small for me, typically, like if I go into an equity position, like I don't want, if it's a losing, so if I go long AMD right here and I say I want my stop down here or stop here, let's say down here, if I get stopped out, that's minus 9%, okay? What's the most you're willing to lose in your entire portfolio off of this setup? There's people that say, I'm willing to risk 1% of my portfolio or even up to 2% of my portfolio. To me, these are crazy numbers. I don't do that. I don't like that. Unless if I have to be, I'm not a big fan of that. What I find my comfort zone more in is like 0.5%, maybe even 0.25, right? So you got to understand, like, because you put on, say if you have 5 trades on, maybe even 10 trades on, and you're risking 1% on each, but maybe your stop is pretty tight. Imagine if you have a bad day and boom, you get stopped out. All of your positions get stopped out. Your stop out on those 5 positions, if you're risking 1%, you lose 5% of your portfolio. Boom, like that. So small, for me, right? 20 basis points, 25 basis points, and I would be expanding it out. So for example, like if I was doing a starter position, I would say, okay, yeah, up here, maybe my stop would be based down here. So I'd have to be willing to risk $46 per share. So how many shares would I buy if I'm only willing to lose 25 basis points in my portfolio and potentially build more into it? The thing is, the larger you go down and the farther your stop, that means you can have this name for a long period of time. So you also have to be strategic in how you enter in the positions that you look for. So for example, with AMD, I'd say if this was getting very tight here and then you have a stronger risk to reward. Like I did this with Grab, right? Grab, I do this with all my names, but like look at Grab. Getting very tight down here. It's a high beta name. I enter it. My stop is down here. Fired off like a rocket ship. Worked out great. But at most, in a very, very tight area, like I don't want to risk 1% of my portfolio. If it just comes, a day separated from stopping me out, the probabilities of me getting stopped out and losing 1% of my portfolio are very high right here. But I'm okay with losing, 25 basis points in my portfolio for, a quick hit. Sometimes even 0.5%. And then if it breaks out like this, which it did, boom, 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 like you're doing great. So you're right really quick or you're wrong really quick. And then you'd want to know a max of how much you're willing to put of your portfolio into a certain name, like dollar amount, because you don't want to tie up all your capital, right? Maybe the max you'll put into any individual name would be like 10% of your portfolio. So you have to kind of adjust. Some names are very expensive, high price names. You're welcome, McKnight. Appreciate that. When did you start getting into training? And how did you learn? Where did you learn from along the way up to now? God, man, there's been so many different resources and things that I've learned from. The list can go on forever, but it really came down to me just experimenting for myself. So I take in knowledge and then, I don't know, I've always been a fan of, treasure hunt movies growing up, those type of movies. So I've always been into like the exploration thing and being kind of genuinely interested in seeing things. So a lot of it comes from me just exploring the markets, looking at various correlations, how they work with each other, various rate of change, and just playing around with things. And then learning just basic principles, right, from books that have been around forever. Transport stocks have been moving. I'd have to check those out. The winter's coming. The person that's talking in the background is a real person. They're giving news feeds. It's from Thinkorswim. So I didn't have any stop outs today, but I also didn't have much exposure. So yesterday I took a lot of those 2 standard deviation move trades. And we're getting some movement back into SPY, by the way. And I just did small ones and they played out today and I just sold them. So, but yeah, I don't think I got any stop outs actually. Cause I don't have a lot of exposure in. Can I check if the orders for SPY future are still open? I'm not too sure I understand the question. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Mechanic Matt, that's great. Yeah, having one of those is great. Just YOLO 5% on each position on my portfolio. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Are you cooked on Rivian? I don't know where your entry or what your strategy was. You'd have to tell me where your entry, stop loss, and so forth. I hope you're not cooked. Yeah, maybe I got to bring back the book club. I did like that too. I don't know why I got rid of it. I think I was just trying to clean things up. Thanks, user. Yeah, Queensberry. Yeah, there's a bunch of different services out there, but in Thinkorswim, just go to the chat rooms. Go to chat rooms, hit global news, tab this little listen button right over here, and then you got them talking to you. It's pretty cool. It's free. Pretty awesome. All right, I want to take a look here, see if any more alerts are coming through. We are getting a little bit of a movement in the SPY. I want to just take a look at ticks. In the last 40 minutes of trading. Let me remove this off of my screen. Saw a nice little pop there, reversed. This is just...
And Myron, just reiterating what you said earlier,
yesterday's cash
has
hasn't closed.
made the case for rate cuts even stronger.
Where can you find the Gamma line, positive, negative, in your Discord? I update you. It's in Gamma Lab, and I just update it in the mornings. So I go off that one. So in the announcement channel, I post an update every morning. It's not actually part of the service. I just started doing that, and I keep doing it. I give the Gamma flip line. It changes. It's always moving and dynamic, but I always just go off what it is in the morning. Then I base it off of there, right? So if I update it right now, which this seems to not be updating anyway, so whatever. But yeah, I post it. And some other people in there also post because they have different services. Yeah, the 10-year bond selling. Yeah, there's been some, bond market's a little freaky. I was looking at TLT earlier. I was like, yeah, this thing is getting jacked. Let's see what high yield's doing. Slightly up. What about junk? Slightly up. What about investment grade? Ooh. That's interesting. That's getting hit. It's oil. It's this oil. What is oil signaling here? Still nothing here. I almost want to just buy little bonds. Do I love my Secret Lab chair? It's okay. I mean, I don't dislike it. I will say that my arm thing broke, and they fixed it, and they sent me a new one like right away. It was pretty cool. So the Sport was great. But I don't have really much experience in high-end chairs, and this one was like the most expensive chair I've ever owned. I mean, other than like a couch or, you know, decor, but for my office chair. And I mean, I like it, but there's like Herman, or what's the ones that's like Herman Miller or something like that, or some knockoffs like that. And I hear that those are just like insanely nice. So I don't know. This is a stand-up desk too, so I can stand up, which is nice. But what's the VWAP line? Sky blue. Oh wait, what VWAP line is that? Sky blue. Okay, yeah. So hey, thanks for following. This is today's low. This is today's low, or daily VWAP, I guess, because it's kind of both for the SPY. I was seeing if this would tag into it earlier. It did in Qs. Well, it got really close to it in Qs, and then I missed the move. But yeah. Herman Miller, yeah, Herman Miller. Thank you. Yeah, they're. But I just didn't like feel comfortable spending that much money. I'd have to try it out before just like spending that kind of money on a chair. And then when I think about it, it's like I spend a lot of time on my chair, so it does matter. But also, you know what? Like if you were like worried about like comfortability, like I've seen wobble chairs or wobble seats. Those things are probably better for you, or even those like balls, like those bouncy ball sort of things. Get your like spine moving and kind of like fluid. Probably way better for you. Probably uncomfortable though over time. Probably get strong though. Build them abs. Butt or sell Sife? Go to a used office furniture store? Yeah, that probably been a better idea. Dude, so just so you know, my whole setup is basically, wait, no. Yes, from Secret Labs. Wait, no. Yes, it is. So my whole desk is like with the standing desk from them. Wait, is it? Yeah, it's the same logo. Yeah, it is. My monitor setup, all the swinging arms, the desk, it's all from Secret Lab. It's a pretty clean setup. You already got a 12 pack? Man, you're ripped. Jacked. So we've been going, we haven't been able to break the November volume weight average price or the low. It's just consolidating. The red line been picking up here, green line kind of picking up, losing convergence. Still holding this green zone down here. Gamma Lab still down. Make a short on it. Use a kneeling chair and a saddle chair. I'd have to look that up. I think I know exactly what you're talking about, actually. Probably would be the biggest difference. Like, I honestly feel like that would be, I'd probably feel way better right now if I was doing that. I already feel better by leaning forward and doing that. Leaning back, I'm like, oh. Back's cracking. You have a Herman Miller? Nothing better? I got to try one before buying one. I don't even know where you go to like try those. Man, 2 hour candles right over here, just been straight sideways. Looks like a bear market now. What do I think? Can you please make a short on daily VWAPs? Like a YouTube short? Yeah, maybe. Actually, that's not a bad idea. I gotta really think through that, but yeah. Yeah, it's just a money market. The one that I'm talking about is in Fidelity, and it's a FDRXX. It's kind of automatic. That's what that's in. As far as this looks like a bear market, I mean, I don't know. I mean, this to me doesn't look like a bear market. It looks like it's still straight up. I think it has the potential to go through larger periods of consolidation and pull back. But even if it were to pull back to like 650 to 629, like say if it does that, say if it does this, boom. Like would that look bearish? I think that there's signs saying that, we went like 4 or 5 months straight up. So yeah, we need some consolidation. We need some sideways price action. We need pullbacks. Like that has to happen. So, I mean, I don't know what that leads to. Relax the back. I don't know if I've heard of that store. I'd have to look that up, see if it's around me. Was there any good earning this morning? Yeah, I did all right this morning. I took a shot and the market ripped, so I got out pretty quickly. Wish I held it longer. Didn't. Don't buy bonds. I mean, it's a lot of narrative there. So the thing is, like, I don't care if I'm right or wrong based off of narrative. Like, it's all based off of risk. Like, you got to understand, like, if I buy TLT right now or whatever proxy, if I buy it right now, like, I don't care if it goes down here. Right? First off, I probably wouldn't be holding it that long anyway. I'd be getting out probably sooner. But it just doesn't matter to me based off of, a story or a narrative. I'm not going to just not trade it based off of that. If it sets up or if it makes sense, I'm going to execute. And it's all going to be risk-based. Like, just go back to the movies, like, right? You would have said the same thing maybe here. don't buy it. Well, it popped up. Then I said, probably get out or short it here. And then I started trying to buy in and around here. I don't have a position right now. Right? It's a setup. It was consolidating. And then over here on this day, there's a reason why I said it looks like it's a time to get out and or short. It was because of what oil was doing at that time. And oil can be a great leading indicator. Scared into 5% pullback. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's getting really sloppy up here. Like you see, we started seeing big breaks. Now we're seeing kind of like these big distribution type days. Tops are a process. They take a while. They do. Rates may go up. Maybe. It's always possible. But if rates are going to go up, I guarantee you oil is going to be up first. It's going to move. That means oil is going to get more, oil is going to fire off. That means potentially inflation goes higher too. Oil is a great leading indicator. Yeah, my thoughts on oil, I mean, it's really range bound, but overall, you're seeing still lower highs and lower lows.
Papa John's, PZZA. Activist hedge funds, Irenic, reportedly built a stake in the company during Q3.
It's still bearish.
Sources.
And if this thing were to actually break and go lower, good for bonds. But also there could be signs of, things breaking when you get really big moves in the oil, like fast rate of changes, the velocity of moves. I mean, there's always something bigger. That's the current correlation. We'll see if it holds. Yeah, user, I think that's a good idea. I have a getting started post that needs to be updated. Maybe it has to be through there. There's always something to learn, that's for sure. And it's always changing. What's up, Savage? What's up? Rates up, oil up, inflation up. No. I haven't actually traded the prop for a minute. I've been focused on my main swing trade account. I've been taking a little bit of a break. I had to slow down a little bit. I just needed to rest and spend some time with my kid. So I've made a little bit less briefs, and then I've been a little bit less active on trading. But I'll be back. Be back at it again. I was considering, getting things set up again for another try to do another run, but I just haven't. I got to go check in on the accounts. What would it take for me to think the top is in? I mean, like the all-time, like a top forever. There's always going to be a top, right? The top or a top. We'll know the top in hindsight. That's what it's going to take. And then I'll be looking for the bottom. Bottoms are a lot easier to trade than tops. The 2000 top took about 14 weeks. That's a long time. 3 months. It's a lot of up and down, sideways price action. The main thing there would be, you get a lot more declining price action, lower highs confirmed on weekly time frames. Maybe you have these averages, the 40-week, 30-week start to decline. That could be a warning shot. There's plenty of signs already that things are slowing down, like plenty. Try funding ticks. Is it good? Oh, I can give him a shot. Funding ticks. It sounds familiar. Cheap, pretty good. All right, man. ARQT is now over $25. What is going on over here with ARQT, dude? Which it was the indicator changing colors. Which one? What are you talking about? Over here? On my screen? I don't know. Like these things? Move is breaking out, the move index. I know, I've heard those. I heard the joke. I talked about it on last night's brief. I thought it was kind of funny. Use your code. Green, yellow, and red. Oh, are you talking about this one? Gravity? Oh, on the 30-minute. Are you talking about TradingView? This one?
Just in case it has any implications, but Washington state health officials confirmed the first human bird flu case of 2025. Says it's a new strain of bird flu.
So this is in the Discord if you want it, in the script channel. It's a 5-day moving average. So yeah, you have to manually set it, but I call it the trend changer. The idea, so it's just the 5-day moving average, which is something I learned from Brian Shannon. I saw Brian, he didn't give the code, but all he did was color code it to just make it a better visual. That's all it is. It's just a visual. It's not a signal by any means. And I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. So I just coded it myself. That's all. Got the idea from him and just did it myself. I think he gave it to his users, but I'm not one of his users, so I know some basic stuff when it comes to the creating indicators and coding. So it's just telling you the direction of the 5-day moving average. When price is below it and it's declining, it's red. When price is above it and it's declining, it's yellow. Or when it's below it and it's flattening out or inclining, right, it's yellow too. So that's all that is. Can I look at silver on the weekly? Yeah, sure. SLV or you want futures? I'll do futures first. New all-time high. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't buy up here, but if we can get some consolidations, awesome. Sometimes the 5 MA is all you need. Yeah, I mean, if that time frame works for you, then great, because you get a lot more setups on those smaller time frames. I like to align it, with the daily, and then prep from there, and have the kind of all come into alignment. But yeah, you're right. It's a great tool. CNRL? What's CNRL? I can't pull that one up. Central European Resources. Your friend bought 20 Herman Miller chairs at a liquidation sale. That's gangster. He's just planning on selling them for a profit or something. Look at Baba still getting hit here. Pumping them lows off that news today. Take a look back at SPY. Let me go. Actually, I'm just going to pull it up here. We're flat on the trading session on SPY. Still a huge recovery. Like, that's a win, for anybody that was in the hole. Like, this gave you opportunities to get out of some trades. You're still below the 5-day moving average. You're still below an all-time high VWAP, right? So it gave you an opportunity to bail. And then you can always enter in, right, again, at lower prices and or if things start to shape up. come Monday, who knows? We can get news over the weekend and this thing could be right back up above all these averages. Color me shocked. That's why I just have a little bit in. I have to have some exposure in the market. Yeah, the weekly bar inside. Let's take a look. SPX, we'll go weekly. Yeah, it's just an inside bar. You are absolutely correct. It's a consolidation week. We went to the high, we went to the low, we came back for a go. From the high to the low, back to the, give it a go. I don't know. Ignore me. For those that are in the Discord or want to join it, link is in the pinned comment. $16 for a month or just buy a year. I'm going to be posting my updated watch list, tight list, as I always do. We'll get weekly expected moves, daily implied moves. Conditions of the market are changing. So I got to just take it more easier now. I'm in a happy position right now in my portfolio where I don't want to lose much. I want to lock in these gains through the year and reset. If something happens, awesome. If it doesn't, I'm just going to keep continuing to do what I do. Under the gamma flip line, just more cautious. Trade a little bit differently. If we start recovering it, start getting back above these levels, I still think, I mean, this is still, we're a stone's throw away from new all-time highs, right? 7,000, that's a big level that traders are still reaching out to. Like, I think that that's, I personally still think that that's a possibility this year. I don't see why it's not, I mean, that's not saying much, right? It's not saying much at all. I mean, if you look at the SPX, it's not like I'm saying this is, oh yeah, you know, it's an impossible move, right? Look at December, at the end of December. Go to December 31st, quarterly, $387 would put us clear over that. That's what we're pricing in right now, right? So $387.
And do note the energy
from right
department
now, from right
announces
here.
$355 million to expand domestic production of critical
I mean, just to
minerals
go to
and
7,000
materials.
from where we are is 258, and the market's
As the
pricing
energy
in right
department
now,
announces $355
almost
million to
400
expand
points.
domestic production of critical
So it's
minerals
not
and
like I'm
materials.
saying anything crazy right now. That'd be well within one standard deviation move. Keep in mind that's risk both ways, so it can also drop, you know, that much too. But that's what the market's saying right now at this moment, saying, yeah, we can get to 7,000. It's within one standard deviation of risk. We can also break down, but yeah, that's my thought here. I think it's still a possibility. So I want it. The reason, so the thing is, like, the reason why I'm saying that is not because I'm going all crazy to get up here, but that's why I at least want some exposure, is because I still think that there's a possibility to do that. And I want to be a part of it if it does do that. And I only want some exposure because if I'm wrong, my portfolio is not getting hit and I get to protect all my gains. Does that make sense?
Statement here, just noting the early FT report is false, according to CNBC.
Okay, David Hunter. No, David Hunter is not 7,000. David Hunter is in the stratosphere somewhere else. But JPM is 7,000. That's where the JPM caller is. Or maybe I'm wrong.
Reminding the FT did earlier report the White House memo did claim that Alibaba is helping Chinese military targets the US. Alibaba says the earlier FT report is false.
Pull back to a weekly 20 EMA. Yeah, let's look at that actually. So we did pull back to the 8. Wait a second. I didn't update this. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, people. I've been calling this the 10 week to some people. It's the 8 week. It's close enough. This 8 week's been holding. We haven't had a close or a breach below it. And it's been good opportunities across like many different things. But you're saying the 20 week. Are you saying EMA, SMA? Does it matter? I'll just do EMA. So that's what, like a 100-day moving average, basically, is what that comes to. That would be the 20-week EMA. Because the 30-week is 150-day moving average. The 40-week is about the 200-day moving average. So 20-week would be the 100-day moving average, I guess. There we go. All right, SPY coming in. Let's see if this updated yet. Coming into the close. We got 10 minutes left. Down 9 basis points. Hey, we're going to get a tag. We're going to do it. So here's the VWAP low from today, or the daily VWAP. It's too late in the day for me to do any sort of trade, but there you go. It's coming back to this level. Let's see what it does. How it responds and reacts. I'm not taking any trades. Not until the end of the day. Large red candle showing up for our ARQT. Are you saying, like, did ARQT turn red on the day? What? No way. Oh, it's just coming off a little bit. I already sold some of the position there. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe on Monday. So there's that VWAP tag. Boom, ba-doom, ba-doom, bum, bum. No, not red. Oh, that's interesting, Ravi. That's some good, cool statistics. The rocket ship. Got to bring it back. What's up, Andrew? Yeah, we're still below the gamma flip line. You're late to the party, but you showed up. You came back. You came to visit. Seeing a little bit of a bounce from the VWAP. Back to flat on the trading session. Still within this green box that we marked out earlier. Those are just gamma levels that probably need to be updated. And we're in the final 9 minutes of trading. You know, jack this right back up. Yeah, we are below the flip line, but we're not too far off, right? So we're kind of neutral. I would consider this still neutral. It's negative, but we're in that neutral zone. So if we start slipping just a little bit more,
and do note the market imbalance
get nasty.
is reportedly around flat.
But this, like, look at this. This is a 2-hour bar right to the upside, and then this is just tiny consolidation, 2 hour, candles. So they need to step up, but it's not bad. It's not nearly, I mean, this is a great recovery from earlier today. Earlier today was stopping people out left and right. People were puking, probably getting super bearish. But that's why we need to know these levels so you can respond and react and you don't become like, overwhelmed. You know that this is what happens in negative gamma. Selling begets selling, and then all of a sudden you can get some buyers that step in and then it just rips. Skadoom. Oh, wow. MSOS today. That hit 2 standard deviation lower just now, recently. Look at that move in marijuana names. Holy moly. What is going on? 348 it's way under it. This is absolutely breaking. Was there some news around cannabis? Who knows something? The news of recriminalizing the THC products in the last minute of the deal. I mean, this just happened though. Like, what? That's crazy. That's a big, big move. Holy moly. Did the THC banning just happen now, though? I thought we got that news on the 12th. Just now. Delta 9? There's a ban on Delta 9? I'm confused because didn't we get this news already? So is this a late response or did something just break? That's what I'm having trouble understanding here. Oh, you're saying 9 Delta move. Okay. Dude, I almost want to just have a little bit in my portfolio just because that's crazy. That's crazy, crazy move. That was wicked. Let's bleed out. Bleed more. Bleed. Close at the low. You stinker. That was wild. 20%. I'm glad I don't have a position. That's why you need stops. Holy moly. I was trading MSOS. I had a position. Not today, but crazy. That's wild. So SPY is still holding the daily VWAP. I'm having a hard time understanding why it's moving like this. This has to be somebody unwinding like a position. This is a big move. Oh, sorry, I just moved my mic away from my face. First human bird flu. Oh God. Baba just, now we're getting, Baba saying that they lied. It's false. What they said was false. So if that's true, this comes right back up to 161. That was the initial reaction on all of that. We don't know, but I'm blown away by this move right now. Look at the volume too. Ugh. That was a monster. Yeah, so we're talking about the ban, right? The criminalizing, but I mean, this is on the 12th. Like, so we have the news, but it was the 12th, right? Crazy. Move to recriminalizing the hemp-derived products. Why? This was already out, so I'm having a hard time. I gotta maybe look in the holdings. Maybe something's really driving that. It's because the news is only hitting TikTok Reels now. I don't think that they do have the API stuff. Have I ever tried to mark? No, but I met him in Vegas. I went to, I was listening to him explain it, and I was like, he was explaining because there's so many different indicators and signals that he has. And I was like listening to him, dude, and I was like, what is he talking about? It was crazy. It was like this low met the low and the high the low and this. And I was like, dude, I cannot, my brain was not wrapping around what he was saying. I was just like, But yeah, to make it simpler, he showed us like exhaustion signals and stuff like that, the 13 and the, you know, various marks, and those, it was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. I don't use it. And he says be very careful of whatever you download because a lot of it's incorrect. He says you need to go direct because a lot of it's not correct. So for what it's, you know, whatever. All right, we're back there at that VWAP. That MSOS move was crazy. 348. So we're basically closing the market right now. See if it goes back to yeah, that 2 standard deviation moves right here. Yeah, that was a big move. Coming to the week close, everybody. Yeah, we're gonna enjoy our weekend. Yeah, that's why I love these alerts, man. It just hits the board. I'm like, whoa, let's pull it up, and it's making a monster move. Like, it's so cool to see this. It's like almost like when you get these alerts, you know that there's a lot of volume behind it. I created a monster, didn't I? All right, guys, markets closed. We closed basically unchanged on the trading session today. As far as the week goes, I mean, dude, we basically close unchanged on the week too. Basically close unchanged on the day and slightly up on the week. And that was after tagging an upper weekly implied move. Market got some proven self. It got to prove itself.
Google is to invest $40 billion in new data centers in Texas. So Google is set to invest $40 billion in new data centers in Texas.
Thanks, Emerald. I have been thinking savage about doing that, doing a small program with like a smaller group or something like that. I have been considering it, but I just haven't yet. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do something like that, where you can get me live every single day. Walk through setups, strategies, trading plans, bulletproof you. All right, y'all. I gotta sign off. Hope everyone has a good weekend. This was fun. I always love doing these. Good week in Gravity, Savage, John, User, Java, Barkster, mahalo. Thanks for hanging out there on Twitch with the other 6 people. Am I planning to go live before NVIDIA earnings? I would like to do so, so probably. Go enjoy your family. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. Matthew Mike. Make some referrals on props. Yeah. Jesse, Dan, House of Rising Funk. Jesse, you said that one already. Everybody else, if I missed your name, I'm sorry. Volt, Turo, see you again. Love you too. See you, Andrew. I said that one again. See you, Christopher. I will update the video. I got to find time to do it. See you, Mechanic Matt. Post this chart. Which one? The SPY chart? I post it in there all the time. Are you saying that? Just tag me in the Discord and specifically a which one so I can see it because I'm about to sign off here. Hey, there we go. Millhouse. Love it. Ciao, bello. You have a great weekend too, Richard. See you, Java. We can go up. We can go down for sure. We could also go sideways. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, tag me in the Discord, pal. All right, everybody. I got to sign off. See you, Tech. You're welcome. Appreciate y'all showing up.